Calling, guys. Talk to me nice.
Welcome back to Sports Tea. Welcome back to Sports Tea.
Talk to me nice. Nice. Calling, guys. Talk to me nice. Calling, guys. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, whatever you want to call it. I hope that everyone's doing well. I want to salute everybody that's joining the stream tonight. Do me a favor, guys, as you load into the room, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and most importantly, share the video. Share the video out with your friends, your family, post it on your social media if you can. But definitely shout out Sports Tea and let's grow our community. Welcome in, everybody. I see Yazid, Yair, Bay, Nufo, Ace of Rage, Sixer Iverson. Yes, Jeffrey Guyot. Welcome on in, guys. Like I said, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Tonight, I have a jam-packed show for you guys. It's going to be, honestly, I've been really looking forward to this. I really wasn't sure how I was going to package this up for you guys, but so much content has been like kind of just hitting YouTube streets, and I wanted to make sure that I found, a decent way to cover it for you guys. So honestly, so much has happened over the weekend. As you guys know, Bronny James, okay, he competed in the Summer League. It's still going on, and he's played in 2 games. There have been 3 games so far, and the first game he didn't play in, and that was a huge deal. It was announced that he wasn't playing in that game. He sat out, right? And it was a mysterious injury. Nobody knew what was going on. Apparently, it was knee swelling. So you're not available for Saturday, but you're available for Sunday. It seems like they didn't want to play him in a back-to-back, honestly. And, just from what I'm seeing already, Bronny James is still not ready for the NBA. He's still insisting upon wearing a costume. Bronny is wearing a costume. He's still wearing a Halloween costume all year long in the NBA. And it's so awful to watch. And, I went to California Classic this weekend. I went to the Chase Center. I was there on Sunday and I watched both of the games. I got a chance to see the Lakers versus the Miami Heat, and I also got to see the Warriors versus the Spurs. And I have to tell you, both games, it was like night and day. Watching the Lakers and the Miami Heat play, I thought it was worse than watching a high school basketball game. I'm going to be very honest with you. Talent on both sides was lacking. They had, I don't know where they found these people from. They looked like they'd never been trained in basketball. It looked like guys, the Barnum and Bailey like circus show or something. You just see bodies flying all over the floor. You see these guys jumping, they're athletic, they're young, they're spry, and you see them moving quickly, but they're just jumping, falling on the floor. That was the entire game. Jumping and falling on the floor. So of course, after sitting out the first game, Bronny looks amazing in the second game, playing against a Miami Heat team that looked crazy as hell. I don't know where they found these people at. So, that game was awful. It wasn't competitive. It was a complete blowout for the Lakers. And honestly, guys, I had really great seats. I was sitting right on the floor. It was fun, seeing Bronny up close on the floor. He's just not that tall. He is a small guard for sure. What I can tell you where I've seen Bronny improve his game, and I want to be honest when I say this because I think he has made an improvement, not the kind of improvement that I need to see in order to call him an NBA player or to think that he belongs in the league and belongs his spot and roster spot on the Lakers in particular. But I saw him improve his actual effort on the court. So he looked like he wanted it. He looked like he wanted to play well. He wanted to work hard. I saw more of an effort on the floor. So he came out, he had a lot of energy, and that's what I saw was a bit of a difference. Usually Bronny has a blank stare. He usually has a blank stare on the court, and I didn't, it's not that I didn't see it. It's just he played 10 minutes, I think, or 11 minutes in the game. He scored 10 points. So, he's increased his ability to just get out there and go. So he said something. He talked about, not being afraid to play his game. He's less nervous. I don't think he's less nervous. I'm going to be honest, because if he was less nervous, he wouldn't have ducked the smoke in game 1. He would have said, "Hey dad, let me play. Hey Rich Paul, hey Clutch Sports, I'm going to play." But he didn't, and I don't know that he's less nervous. That I don't believe, because he always plays with a bit of frantic sort of energy. So to me, Bronny's always a little bit frantic, and I'll say that he worked harder. What I saw was more of an effort from this season in this summer league game that I saw him in from last year's summer league. He looked like a fish out of water. He didn't know what to do. It seems like he's at least following some sort of direction. So, good for Bronny. But I mean, honestly, I still don't believe that he belongs in the G League. I don't. And, it's interesting because when he sat out that first game, fans all over the place torched him. I think that even the NBA fans that support Bronny James, they're looking at some of the things that him and Clutch Sports do together in partnership as being annoying. And they're like, here we go again with the manufacturing. We're expecting Bronny out on the floor. This is who we want to see. Why isn't he there? Why isn't he playing? And, it was reported. So the really funny thing is the Cooper Flag game against the Mavericks, the Lakers don't play it until tomorrow. But yet on Friday, it was already being reported that Bronny James, he's not expected to play in that game, that they're going to start load managing him through the summer league. Like, how are you load managing Bronny James during the summer league? A second round pick, a guy who he doesn't deserve minutes in the G League, but we're load managing him for real. And so I think this was, I forget which outlet reported this. This might have been Yahoo Sports, but basically they say Lakers make shocking Bronny James summer league decision days before Cooper Flag matchup. And they go on to say the Los Angeles Lakers will compete in the California Classic before heading to Las Vegas to take part in the NBA 2K26 Summer League. Before the Lakers' Saturday night contest against the Golden State Warriors, the organization made a shocking decision involving their 20-year-old guard, Bronny James. They're saying shocking. I don't think it's so shocking that they're, allowing for Bronny James to sit out games. This is exactly what they did last season with him. So it continues. Warriors versus Lakers California Classic starting lineups: Dalton Knecht, Cole Swider, Trey Jamison, DeJuan Gordon, DJ Stewart. Sports Illustrated Liam Willerup reported on Twitter. Warriors: Chris Mannon, Jackson Rowe, Marcus Bolden, Teron Armstrong, and Jaden Shackelford. No Bronny James, as he will not suit up for today's game. Entering the day, there was no indication that Los Angeles would sideline James to begin Summer League action. While many are looking ahead to the USC Products' highly anticipated matchup against Dallas Mavericks forward Cooper Flag next Thursday, it's unlikely they expected to watch a Jamesless Lakers squad during either event. The article continues. James, whom the Lakers unsurprisingly selected in the second round of the 2024 NBA draft, recently finished his rookie campaign in the big leagues. While still a work in progress, the 6'2" guard was a standout contributor in the NBA G League, averaging 21.9 points, 5.4 assists, and 5.2 rebounds per game with the South Bay Lakers. And this is cap, guys. Bronny didn't even play most of the games in the G League. We know that if he did, that average wouldn't be at 21.9. They put him him in a couple of games where he knew he could cook, where they knew that they were going to structure that offense around him. And if you guys watch those games, the defense was literally moving out of the way. I don't know if they were paid to let Bronny cook or what, but that stat line is fake news. James's efficiency is also noteworthy, as the former McDonald's All-American connected on 44% of his field goals and 38% from the three. Hopefully, James will suit up for the Summer League soon and receive valuable reps heading into his second NBA season. I'm sorry, but Bronny James is not efficient. We saw him at 0% from three. So these stats are fabricated, and they're not really telling us the full story. I don't know where the hell these stats came from. Bronny was like more like 15% from three. This is a lie. Maybe they're talking about his summer league stats, or maybe I don't even think their summer league stats were worse last season. His NBA stats were god awful. Okay. And his G League stats were not good either, but a couple of games they were able to manufacture for him. So, with that being said, what I can say is that we're load managing a 6'2" guard who hasn't done anything, who hasn't accomplished anything. Bronny James hasn't proven that he can do anything for a team. So what are you saving him for? You're saving him for what? You're load managing him for what? The fans had a lot to say about it. Bronny James's own fans torched him on Twitter or X. They wanted to know, okay, he's sitting out of the game. Someone wrote, for what? This is stupid, dog. And I don't blame them. It's a no for me too, dog. I don't get it. Then another person said, we don't get to see Bronny or our only draft pick. So annoying, man. We don't get to see Bronny. They're crying that they don't get to see Bronny. Bro needs reps as much as possible, one added. Another Bronny fan says, I love Bronny, but why are we load managing 20-year-olds? That's the same question I would like to know. Why are we load managing a 20-year-old, let alone a 20-year-old scrub that needs all the practice he can get? Lastly, another tweet goes, I know it's 3 games in 4 days, but Bronny should be playing. Reps are a good thing, another stated. Absolutely. I mean, you can't get your body into game-ready shape unless you're playing. You can't develop and get better unless you're playing. Right? I mean, that's what I would think. Got to practice to get better. Right? But Bronny James, he did talk heading into these games. He has been asked about his dad, asked about what his dad is going to do. And here's what he had to say. I thought it was interesting.
Everybody wondering what your dad's going to do.
Yeah, actually, one of my friends called me talking about what I was going to do because they seen my dad, whatever. I didn't see it. He called me. I was like, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. So, pretty much the question. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to that stuff. So, there's a lot of fun around that I don't pay attention to. So, yeah.
When you've talked about team stuff with them, this is a weird thing, right?
So, do we think that Bronny doesn't know what's going on with his dad, or doesn't talk about it, or doesn't worry about it? I doubt it. You have to be worried about it. I mean, you worrying about it is how you got in your seat, right? So I highly doubt that that's true. But Bronny is speaking to the media, and I don't know that I see so much different from him. He's being fed the answers that he should be saying to the American public. So he's clearly being told what to say. He's clearly, working with his PR team. I'm sure he's got a whole PR team. He's like a Kardashian, right? Which Kardashian do we want to call Bronny? We all know that LeBron is Kim. So is he Kylie? Is he Kendall? Is he Chloe? Is he Courtney? Which one would Bronny be? I guess if you have to have he's the oldest child, so maybe he's Courtney Kardashian. Who knows? But anyway, you saw his tweets about his fan tweets about him not playing. He goes on, right? So he plays quote unquote well against Miami, you see highlights of Bronny. You see that breakaway dunk. So he had a breakaway dunk in that game. He had 2 3-pointers. He played well. Bronny, he didn't disappoint in that 10-minute span that he played. But he was pretty much blowing right by defenders. There was really, like I said, it looked like a circus. People were just on the floor. I'm like, what kind of game is this? So he's getting praised all over the place. ESPN, they're lying, basically, showing him just having this dunk, having these 3-point shots. Then you turn around, you fast forward to, him playing against the Spurs. In the next game he plays in, awful. So Bronny has like this Cinderella story, right? He comes out, he plays well for 10 minutes against a scrub Miami Heat team, 0 competition. They blew them out by 20 plus points in that game. They led the entire game by like 20 plus points. So you fast forward to him playing against the Spurs, who, by the way, I just watched directly after the game that he played against the Heat. The Spurs played Golden State Warriors, and that game was extremely competitive, entertaining, and close the entire way. It was literally apples and oranges watching those two games night and day. It was like high school to pros. And so you're watching this game, very, very competitive. And by the way, Spurs versus Warriors, these guys were playing for their lives. They were playing for a roster spot. Miami Heat Laker game, it looked like they knew they weren't going to do anything. They knew they weren't going to make anything. It looked like they had nothing to play for. And you see the Spurs and the Warriors game, literally, it was like neck and neck the whole game. There was only like a 1 or 2 point lead throughout the game. So, the Spurs wind up winning that game, but they were competitive. So you fast forward to the Spurs versus the Lakers, and it's an embarrassment for Bronny James. Not only do they lose the game, but he scores just 2 points. He started in the game. He starts in the game and literally stinks it up. Stunk up the game, stunk up the crypto center. And people are saying he's gotten better. He looks like an NBA player. He belongs. He deserves his spot on the Lakers. I don't see it. Dave McMinimum, months ago or maybe a month or two ago, reported that Bronny was going to get serious rotational minutes. That is a joke. Guys, I have to show you the stat line from the 2 games that he played in. I mean, just absolutely awful. This was a stat line from last night. 2 points, 15 minutes, 1 for 5, 0% from 3, 0. He didn't go to the line, couldn't get there. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 3 turnovers. I mean, that doesn't sound like he can't dominate in the summer league. The summer league is lesser than the G League. The summer league is literally guys competing for a spot in the G League. That's what summer league is. So why the hell can't Bronny James, if he's got a legitimate roster spot in the NBA, why can't he dominate in the summer league? He looked like shit last season, and he looks just as awful again. 2 points in 15 minutes. So his full stat line from California Classic, out of 2 games, average of 6 points, 4 for 12, 33% field goal percentage. So he's shooting 33% from the floor. He's 2 for 7 from 3, so that's 28%. He was 100% from the line, so good job. Was able to get off 2 attempts. Averaging under 1 assist per game. And not even 2 rebounds a game, 1.5. Does that look like an NBA player that belongs on the Lakers? Does that look like the Lakers are wasting a roster spot? That's what it looks like to me. Bronny James is pretending to be an NBA player. The media is pretending that he's an NBA player. They're looking at him in this costume and they're like, oh, that tracks for me. That's what they're doing. But I got to tell you guys, Bronny James, he went from Prince to Pumpkin literally overnight. How does that happen? It happens that way because he's not a legitimate NBA player. And when you cherry pick your games, you're bound to get exposed. So when you cherry pick and you try to play around with, I think I can dominate in this game. I think I can go off and cook in this game. Well, what happens is you're going to pick a game where probably can't cook, or you're not going to be able to take every game off. So you get exposed. And that's what's happening to Bronny James. His Cinderella story, it's not going the way that it's not real. That's why I'm calling it a Cinderella story. We're praising him in the media, and it's all fake news. They don't care about whether he's a real NBA player or not. They don't care about if the talent matches the hype and the praise. They just want to talk about what's going to get clicks and what's going to sell. But Bronny is not a real NBA player. He's still wearing a costume. And I think that it should be, I don't know, I just think it's damn near illegal that Bronny James gets to pretend this way. At what point does the meritocracy matter? At what point does the athletic performance and true talent matter? I don't understand this. I mean, it's so funny. I was talking to one of my really good friends, and we're talking about Bronny, and it's just kind of like, what happened? What would happen, right? If Bronny James has to fill out a loan application? And I get it, he doesn't need a loan, right? But what if he actually listed NBA player as his occupation? How do you guys think that would go? Imagine him writing professional basketball player on a loan application. It begs the question. I mean, I've got to wonder if that's technically considered fraud. I mean, seriously, think about it. He's not a professional basketball player. His dad paid for a spot. How come his dad can't pay for a spot for him to be a doctor or a lawyer? Professions, that's exactly what it is. It's profession, right? So you have to be a professional. You have to actually be qualified. You have to be qualified in the sport. That's what sports are about. Sports are not about nepotism. So people can say whatever you want, but there's certain jobs and there's certain professions that require actual talent and performance. You can go run your dad's bodega that he passed down to you. You can go and run his mortuary business and, an insurance company probably, but you can't just get out there and be a doctor or a lawyer. It requires many years of school. And some people, it's so funny because they're able to cheat their way through law school, and they pay somebody to go take the bar for them. We saw Kim Kardashian try to get over, and just skate her way through becoming a lawyer. She got a couple black people out of jail or whatever she did, and poof, she's a lawyer. But you actually, she kept failing the bar. She was able to take the mini bar, and she still failed. She kept failing and failing and failing. Why? Because she doesn't have the skill set. She's not a lawyer. She's not actually that smart. And look, maybe she is smart, but she wasn't qualified. And that's just the bottom line. It's just like, can you imagine an executive pays $20,000 to attend a fantasy MLB baseball camp, and they get to wear a real uniform and they get to walk on the field? I mean, he wouldn't be allowed to actually hold himself up as a professional baseball player. That would be fraud. So I have to ask, why on earth is Bronny different than some guy who pays for fantasy baseball? Let's just call it like we see it, guys. Bronny, he's a fantasy. Bronny is a fantasy Laker for life. He's a fantasy Laker for life. That's what Bronny James is, a fantasy Laker. Wearing a costume. It's absolutely crazy. Yeah. But before the Spurs game, so before that game even happened, of course, everybody's praising Bronny because they have to hurry up and they have to get ahead of it, right? So they have to get ahead of him playing like a scrub and praise him for, scoring and, not looking crazy as hell out there on the court. They have to praise him. And I mean, Paul Pierce talked about Bronny on Speak, and he talked about what Bronny would have to do in order to get some real rotational minutes. I mean, again, Dave McMinimum reported about a month or so ago that Bronny was going to get serious minutes and be part of the Laker rotation. That's the report. That's the actual report. And so here's what Paul Pierce had to say about how Bronny can go about, being a serviceable player.
This is a tough one for me because, as much as I like Bronny and how he's improved over the year, to be a rotation player, being that you're a 6'1", 2 guard, he has to show me that he can do one thing great. And I heard him say, he has to be a terror on the defensive side of the ball. Now, if he can show that to where he can be a lockdown defender, because think about this, and I always refer to Pat Beverly. Pat Beverly averaged like 35 in high school. He was a scorer, but he came into the league and said, hey, there's a bunch of scorers out here that can do a lot of things I can do. I got to figure out how I'm going to be on this court, how I'm going to be on this rotation. I got to change my mindset and my game. And that's what Bronny has to do. He has to figure it out. What are you going to do when you got guys that shoot lights out? He hasn't developed into a lights out shooter yet. Especially guys his size are usually lights out shooter like Gabe Vincent or something. So he has to say, hey, I got to hang my hat on the defensive end. And that's one thing I'm going to be watching this summer to see how intense he plays on the defensive end, picking up full court, causing havoc on that end. So if he can do that, then he can find a spot in this Lakers rotation, because when I'm looking at it, they need young energy, not a lot of defensive presence on this team, because we don't look at Connect as a defensive player. Reeves, Luka, they need some defensive presence. And if he can do that this summer and improve in that area, he can crack the lineup.
What are the minutes in a rotation, though? What am I looking for? Like, what am I trying to find? Am I trying to find
day in and day
12
in the
every day?
quarters? Minutes in a rotation is every night. You in a rotation. Coming into this game, you're going to get such and such amount of time. Whether it's 12, 15 minutes, every night you coming in with 2 minutes left in the first quarter, or, as a rotation player, and it's going to be consistent most nights.
See, I think it's going to be hard to do that for him right now. I think it's just going to be hard to do, because now they went out and got DeAndre Ayton. You got Luka, you got LeBron, you got Rui, you got Reeves there. This is a team that could make some noise depending on the rest of the shape of the roster as time goes by. That's why I think it's going to be a little hard for him to be able to steal 12, 15 minutes from a group of guys. Because now you're going to probably be dealing with some veteran dudes. Veteran dudes want to play. I don't care if, Paul, I don't care if they're the 7th, 8th, they want to get on the floor. So they ain't going to want to hand you no minutes. So we back to what we were a year ago prior to him getting on the floor for the Lakers, as how will the veteran players feel if they think he's not ready to get those minutes? When they came over for whatever reasons in free agency, through trades, whatever, to help the Lakers make a deep run in the playoffs. See, I don't think that he's ready than probably some of those guys that they may have an eye on out there. Like, for instance, Chris Paul. Like, you would rather have Chris Paul on the floor if he signs with the Lakers than Bronny. As a veteran player, you want that, because that goal is trying to go somewhere. I don't know if that's going to be the case right now with him. I mean, he certainly showed some flashes again just the other night in 10 minutes and, scored 10 points, 10 minutes, had a big, beautiful dunk. But again, it's the summer league. Let's see how it moves to his second year with the Lakers. And I don't see the rush anyway, TJ. What's the rush? Why are we like, he's got to get on the floor, he's got to get on the floor? Like, what's the rush?
I'm going to say no to answer the question. But can he take Gabe Vincent's minutes? Can he knock down shots? Can he be TJ McConnell on defense? You're more athletic. You're about the same size. Can you pick guys up 94 feet and make it hard on them? Mm-hmm. Every minute if you're only playing 12 to 15 minutes, can you make it hard for him? And TJ McConnell was very, very good in the finals. He's picking guys up 94 feet, pick and roll, and was making the right decision. Can he do that? And it's possible, but he's going to have to take minutes from somebody. It's Gabe Vincent or whomever else, because you don't see many guys in the NBA that's 6'2" that aren't a true point guard. And even still, Luke and LeBron are the point guards of this team, so you're not going to have the ball in your hand. You're not going to be TJ McConnell on offense. Can you be a hound? And the final should just show us. We want guys to pick up 94 feet. If we're not relying on you to score, pick a guy up 94 feet. Make it hard on him. So if he can do that, it's a possibility. But if the Lakers are going to be as good as we hope they are, it's no. But if we just a middle of the pack team, then yeah, he'll crack the rotation.
He gotta be a 3-and-D guy. He gotta be not only defense, you gotta knock down shots. This is the NBA. They'll expose you. If you can't hit shots, you'll get exposed. So I'm gonna be looking at his shot making and his defense. That's all he needs.
And maybe he's
I cut it off at Joy Taylor because she just kind of like reiterated what Paul Pierce said, and no, we didn't really need to hear it. But Paul Pierce is I think he's towing the line, right? So everybody wants to be careful, I think, this season about how they talk about Bronny. They're just going to keep it strictly basketball, as they should, right? Because when you keep it basketball and you talk about what he's doing on the floor, it doesn't seem like much. It doesn't seem like he deserves the media hype that he's getting. Not at all, right? We're sitting up here. Keyshawn Johnson actually had the nerve to compare Bronny James to Chris Paul. And I'm not a huge Chris Paul fan, but I think he's much more serviceable now than Bronny James probably ever will be. I'd take Chris Paul at 80 over Bronny James. So veteran status or not, I wouldn't want Bronny James on my team. I wouldn't want that circus on my team. I wouldn't want somebody who really doesn't know their ass from their elbow on the floor with me. So I don't, again, I think it's laughable that we're actually comparing him to real qualified NBA players, to someone like Chris Paul, who barely turns the ball over, and Bronny James is a turnover prince. I mean, Le Turnover Junior. I mean, it doesn't add up for me. It doesn't even compute that they could be in the same sentence. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous that there was even a question as to whether or not Bronny was going to play in tomorrow's game against Cooper Flagg, like putting them head to head. It was funny to me, and I believe that the media is doing this because in Mind the Game, LeBron actually tied Cooper Flagg to Bronny, saying that they've traveled together in the same circle, playing in different tournaments, and et cetera. And he's seen Cooper Flagg, in those same circles, an actual qualified player. And so the fact that we're comparing those two, Cooper Flagg is the number one pick. Bronny James, again, doesn't even deserve to be in the NBA. Cooper Flagg is the number one pick, and we're sitting here getting all hype. It's being reported that these tickets are like $2,000 to go see Cooper Flagg and Bronny James, and I just think it's a complete disgrace. The fact that we're paying for hype and we're not paying for talent and true greatness, it's just absolutely disgusting. The NBA is a disgrace. So they've made the league more competitive, but it's only competitive for certain players. It's only more competitive and more difficult for certain players. Bronny James isn't going to feel any of that. He's a celebrity. So there's going to be celebrity treatment because there used to be star treatment, right? If you were good, you got treated with certain privileges. But now, I guess just because you're a celebrity, you get to load manage and do what you want, right? I mean, that's basically what the NBA is telling us. And they can charge $2,000 a ticket for us to go see Bronny James, a complete scrub. Carlton Banks. We get to watch him stink it up tomorrow against Cooper Flagg, and that's supposed to be a treat for us. And they're going to rob some kid who's waited their whole life to see a summer league game because they can't even afford to go to the NBA games. The NBA is a disgrace. They are disgusting. They will do anything for money. They will choose money over the integrity of their sport. They will choose money over real athletic accomplishments and performance. That's what's clear to us. They're a money-hungry league. They're nothing but a bunch of greedy bastards in the NBA. And that's just what it is. I get it. It's not a non-profit league. It's a for-profit league. I get that. I get that the league is supposed to keep growing, but you want to grow it based on players that are actually good. The father-son duo is not doing it for NBA fans right now. And it's like people are paying for the train wreck. They're paying to see Bronny shoot bricks and have this face. That's what they're paying for. They're not paying the $2,000 because they love Bronny. They're paying the $2,000 because they want to see that look on his face when he shoots a brick at the end of the game. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for the train wreck. It's the same reason why we watch the Kardashians, guys. It's no different. They're just paying for the train wreck. This is not about real talent. This isn't about greatness. This is about a privileged son of a manufactured superstar in the league that just won't leave, that won't retire, that refuses to let it be about any other players, that refuses to give us a break. That's what this is about. Can't make this stuff up, guys. Rob Parker, Kelvin Washington, they talked a lot about, what they thought about the fact that this is basically one of the most hyped games. That Cooper Flag versus Bronny James, the Dallas Mavericks, and the Lakers in the Summer League is causing all of this commotion. They can't believe it. And so here's what Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington had to say about it. I don't know how much of this I actually agree with. Here's the thing. I can't stand Kelvin Washington. Every time he talks, it's like nails on a chalkboard for me. And I think he's way too long-winded. I prefer Rob Parker. He just gets in and out. He makes his point very concise. Kelvin Washington, he's like a lot of LeBron fans. They need so long to get to their point. They need quote unquote context, because context is what you need when the math doesn't math, right? So here's what they had to say on The Odd Couple about the Bronny Cooper Flag matchup. And, I'm curious what you guys think, like if you actually think Bronny is going to duck the Cooper Flag smoke, because they're saying that he has this knee injury. He had knee swelling and that they were going to monitor it and that basically they were going to sit him as needed. So is he going to mysteriously not play tomorrow? That's the question. But here is what Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington had to say about it.
It is the hottest ticket in town, and that's saying something. There's a lot of things to do in Las Vegas. That is because it is the Summer League debut of Cooper Flag. He'll be taking on Bronny James and the Lakers. Check this out, guys. We're still about 48 hours away, so these numbers are only going to go up. According to TickPick, the average ticket price for that game is $201. That would make it the most expensive ticket in Summer League history. Here's the best part, though. Lower bowl tickets, again, this is not a big arena that you're going to. This is maximum, I think, is 8,000 people. Lower bowl tickets currently going $650 a pop. And if you want to sit courtside, which I know that Dub and Rob always sit courtside when they go places.
Not yet.
$2,500 a piece. You could go to the NBA Finals and not pay $2,500 to sit courtside.
Wait, okay. For who? Charlotte and...
No, the one we just had.
Well, okay, so who? What? Indiana?
Oklahoma. Indiana.
Yeah, I believe you there.
So, big bucks to go see Cooper Flag and Bronny James.
Okay. Next Lakers, you'd be spending $250,000.
Here's a ridiculous thing. I get it. People are in Vegas. There's not much to do there. It's hot weather. There's bad buffets and crap tables. And if you don't have it, but the idea that you would spend any kind of significant money to see Summer League basketball, I don't care who's playing. I'm dead serious.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is like, talk about a waste of money. I want to see, if you're telling me Cooper Flag's first real game and I want to be that, I'm all for it. If he's your favorite player and it's a real game, but 75%, Rob G, Kelvin, am I being wrong? 80% of the players playing in the Summer League are not going to be NBA players.
About that.
Okay, you know what I mean? Like there's some rookies, but most of the guys, they get a free uniform and a couple of pair of sneakers and a a burger and fries from Burger King. Like, that's what they get to play in the summer league. The league makes a little bit of money off of it, and to keep the league relevant, and you get to see some of these guys who were drafted, which is fine. I'm not saying don't go, but pay top dollar. And then the whole thing, Bronny against Cooper Flag, is that really where we are? I could see if it was, there were two players who were going to be drafted 1 and 2, and they had a rivalry or something, and then this is, they both got drafted, and you look at that. I could understand it. Do you know what I mean? I got
an example for you.
That makes more sense to me. I'm just saying, personally, I just couldn't see Pitt spending big bucks or any major money on summer league basketball, which is basically minor league basketball, with a sprinkle on top. That's what it is.
So in theory, I'm actually not mad at you. Like, I get everything you're saying, principle, right? But here's a couple of things you gotta think about. We're in a day and age where, Rob G, how old was Cooper Flag when you started to hear about him? 14, maybe? Bronny. Now, obviously, we know him since he's literally born, but Bronny becomes a thing on social media at like 13, 14, right? You're starting to see these guys. So we have a generation, Rob, where their peers, kids who are 17 to 24-ish, dude, they've been watching these kids like since they were on making mixtapes, and they were all over YouTube and TikTok. And so for them, this is lit. I get to go see the guy I've been watching for all these years.
Those are the guys paying $2,500. The young people you're talking about?
It's only $250, Rob. That's actually nothing. You know what they pay to go see Taylor Swift? I'm not even exaggerating. It's absurd. Go text your best friend, Stephen A. Smith, what he paid to take his daughters and friends to go see Taylor. Monty paid $1,000 to go see Taylor Swift in Nosebleed.
Monty makes too much money at Fox Sports Radio to pay $1,000.
But I'm saying, Rob, that's what it's so dope. That it's become this.
That's outrageous.
No, Rob, that was normal. To go see Beyonce.
That's not
no,
normal.
I'm saying it's become to go see Beyonce.
Are you kidding me?
To go see Taylor Swift. To go see Adele. To go see these massive, massive artists. So for these guys spending $250, I get to go see Bronny. I get to go see Cooper Flag. That's actually cheap, Rob. A regular NFL, to go see the Chargers play the Browns, it's going to cost you $250 minimum, and that's a bad seat. So it's actually not bad.
For a summer league game to see scrub.
Right, and here's also why.
That's what I'm saying. Now, this is not mano-a-mano. If you told me it was a one-on-one competition, I might even buy into that. They might not be on the court or checking, like, seriously.
But here's why, Rob.
It doesn't make any sense.
Now, Rob G, this is expected to be one of the biggest, if not the most watched summer league game ever, right? So guess who's going to be? I'm going to tell you why. So guess who's going to be there? LeBron James. Probably Kevin Durant.
Okay.
Probably Steph Curry.
And what does that do for you,
Travis Scott. I'm in the building with Travis Scott, one of my favorite players. I might have one of my Rob Parker, Travis Scotts. Don't act like you don't want to be there. He might throw you something. I got Bron down there. I got this person down there. I got young YN, whoever, pick a rapper, young NBA, young boy down there. Like, dude, this is lit. I got all.
Like I said, Kelvin Washington makes me sick because what he does is he says true things that are not about the main thing. Right. So the point is that we shouldn't be paying this much money to see Bronny James. We shouldn't pay $100. We shouldn't even pay $200. There's just no scenario where someone who's not good should be commanding anything from us as fans. So it's I don't blame Rob Parker for feeling like shocked and appalled by this. I totally get that. Kelvin Washington, like I said, I mean, he makes it about the fact that people have been watching Bronny since he was in high school and whatnot. I mean, players that are good, so the talented players that came straight out of the league from high school, we were watching them in high school too. And I get it. He said 14, 15. I mean, again, Kobe Bryant, he was on NBA fans' radar when he was in high school. He was on cover of Sports Illustrated at 17. So if you think we just started watching him at 17, that wasn't the case. There was a lot of hype surrounding him. But the thing is that players that were hyped up in the media, players that were celebrated before they even got into the NBA, they were good. That's the difference. So I totally understand what Rob Parker is saying. I don't think that there should be any hype for a Cooper Flag, Bronny James game when it's disrespectful to Cooper Flag. It's 1,000,000% disrespectful to him because he was the number one pick. He went off in college. Bronny had one of the most awful college careers that we've seen. His college career was a bust. His NBA career is essentially a bust. As far as the talent is concerned, when we're talking about talent and play on the floor, Bronny's a bust. He's a bum. Let's just call him LeBummy. Let's call him LeBricky. Whatever we want to call him. I mean, there's so many names, right? But he's not an NBA player. We can call him anything but an NBA player. But what do you guys think? Will Bronny duck the Cooper Flag smoke? what do you think about his performance? We did get some super chats. I'm going to read some general comments, but I'm going to read the super chats first. So thank you and salute to you, Brown B, for the $5 super chat. Bronny is trash. He has no talent and no bag. LeBron is truly a dubious human being to put his son on Front Street and rob Quincy of a roster spot. Quincy Oliveri he was one of their sacrifices. He was a sacrificial lamb. He was a lamb. He was a casualty in their basically devious deception. In pretending that Bronny's an NBA player, so many people have to fall and go down. Woofio, salute to you for the $2 super chat. LeBron farewell tour gonna be in China. I hope that it is, because I'm so sick of seeing him. He doesn't deserve to be on the Lakers. He doesn't deserve his conduct and behavior in the league. He should be out of the league. Honestly, planting stories in the media, trying to come out and say that the Lakers aren't competing for a title and that you're flirting with leaving. I mean, these are just reasons that no team should want him. They should want to be away from him. It's toxic. I set the tone. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. I really appreciate you. So 20 years ago, LeBron's boss had invested money for a return. Today, that investment, LeBron made $1 billion. LeBron and his bosses want him in. Can't imagine Bron seriously wants to play because he's not stupid. I get it. I mean, LeBron James, everything is about the money, the clout, the legacy, right? So these players today, it's all about the money. It's all about the money. So I'm with you. And I doubt he wants to compete. LeBron probably doesn't even really want to be on the floor. Brand117, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Salute to you. Hey, Sports T, would you watch a Bronny game for 100? I think I kind of did already on Sunday. So on Sunday, I went to see him playing against the Miami Heat. I didn't actually pay for my ticket, so I don't know. That's a really good question. I don't know if I'd be willing to pay the 100, but I'd be willing to go with someone that paid the 100 for me. I'll take it. Yeah, and so we have another super chat from Woofio. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Bronny will duck Cooper like LeBron ducks Giannis. I mean, LeBron ducks so much. I don't think he only ducks Giannis. I mean, they're on the run from anything that's competition. To me, they duck the smoke, they duck the competition. So whoever that is, it could be Cooper Flag, it could be Kevin Durant, it could be anybody. If they think it's going to be too hard, if they think that somehow they might get embarrassed, they're ducking the smoke. We already know what time it is. So what else did you guys have to say about this? The self-destruction of LeBron James. You guys are so funny. Oh my gosh. LeBron, salute to Grape Tea News. Guys, head over there and subscribe to their channel. LeBron would be a horrible coach. Imagine LeBron post-retirement trying to coach, and I can see him being that way. I see LeBron as the guy that wants to be all in the video, dancing. That's LeBron. That's what he's like, and it makes a lot of sense to me. So he's got to be all in the video, right? So, oh man, I have so much fun with you guys. Reading the comments you guys are absolutely hilarious. So funny. But this whole Bronny James topic, it brings me to my next topic. And, it's, oh, it looks like we got another super chat. From Woofio, thank you and salute to you for the $5 super chat. For Young D, last time LeBron played Giannis is February of 2022. Sheesh, that is awful. I don't think it was actually that long ago. I think they did compete against Giannis. I think maybe last year, and Giannis and the Bucks lost. Maybe LeBron wasn't on the floor. I don't think it was that long though, Woofio. I don't know. I don't think it was that long. But anyhow, Bronny James and what he needs to do to get into the rotation, being a defensive player, he was supposed to be the poor man's Davion Mitchell, right? That was what we were supposed to see from him. That never happened. That never materialized, right? And, I just don't think that Bronny has the skill set. I don't think he's a qualified NBA player. So, we'll see. We'll see what he does tomorrow against the Dallas Mavericks. Are we going to see these improvements that the media is lying about that he has? We'll see. We shall see. But, we heard from Paul Pierce on Speak, and, he's just been cooking lately. He recently reacted to Kevin Durant and LeBron James's Mind the Game episode. And in this episode, LeBron James was sort of fake glazing Kevin Durant, saying that, and it was interesting, the words that he used. He said that Kevin Durant was the most equipped scorer. So it means that he has the skill set to score any way, anywhere on the floor. That's how I think it was perceived. And, he said, he talked about his efficiency as well. So Kevin Durant being efficient, but also being the most equipped. So Paul Pierce, I don't think he seriously took exception to it. But what I love about Paul Pierce is that he throws himself into these discussions because he can easily make a case for himself. And so I think it's funny to him that players today, modern NBA players today, they find it so necessary to talk about their rank, where they belong, to sort of try to, place others higher or lower. And I think he sees it as, if they can do it, let me just throw myself in there too. Let's see what people think about that. And so that's exactly what he did. He reacts to LeBron saying that Kevin Durant is the most equipped scorer in NBA history. And he takes some fake exception to that. And he starts talking about how he was the purest scorer. So that he's saying that he is not the greatest scorer, but he was the most pure scorer throughout all of NBA history. So he was talking about the levels of which that he could score, how he can score, and he believes that he can score more ways than Michael Jordan. He believes he can score more ways than everybody. So here's what he had to say. I'll play it for you guys, and then we can react together.
By the way, the Pistons have added Duncan.
Oops, that was not the right soundbite. So sorry, guys. Let me start that over.
Because I got everything in the bag. He got in his toolbox. He got it all. He just got everything. That's what he say.
Because I was pretty equipped when I think about it. I'm just saying,
could you pull up from the elbow?
I need to be in this conversation.
Could you pull up from the elbow?
I got all that.
Knock down the three.
All that.
Could you back him down?
Contest champ.
Turn around.
All of that. Post up.
Could you dunk?
All of that. I was shooting. I must have been one of the most equipped. Look, here we go. Boom. Who's this? I'm to the rack.
Okay.
3 people.
I ain't got to show a Laker highlight, but I get it.
Look, let me see. Go over your head.
Oh, that's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty.
This is equipped. Oh, you want game winners? Wop, wop, wop. Here we go. I'm trying to figure out what.
Your efficiency?
Yeah, I think, when he's talking about his efficiency, because I shot more bad shots than Kevin.
Yeah, you was just hot dogging. You wasn't as clean.
No, I shot more bad shots. But Kevin, because he's 7 feet, he can get his shot off on anybody. He don't really see defense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why he's so efficient. There's nobody at his height on the perimeter. He changed the way we look at perimeter. He pretty much changed the game on the perimeter. Being a 7'2" guard, you know what I'm saying? That's come on, the biggest 2 guard when I came in was 6'5", 6'6".
Dirk was what, a 3?
Dirk was a 4 man.
Was he a 4?
Yeah, he's 7. He playing center. He a center playing at the point guard, 2 guard. You know what I'm saying? So all his matchups and the way he shoot the ball and get to the ball, he efficient with it. So I can see why LeBron would say that. But shoot, you got to put me in that talk when we talk about most equipped scorers. Now, come on, Bron.
You got to put your hand right though. You ain't really. Yeah, you got to. Right. You know what I mean?
Talking about
Tyler, what was Paul's field goal?
But when you think about it, the history part, the game of the NBA, the history of it is so long. Mm-hmm. So to add the history part to it is a bit much. Now, KD was sitting there with him, so give him a little more extra sugar as far as that goes.
Well, KD's not here with us.
No, but I'm
44.5%.
44.5%.
I was probably the best pure scorer ever in the history of the game.
Okay.
History.
There you go. So you see how he did that?
They want to use history.
That's what I'm saying. So
when we just talk about pure score, I'm in that list.
When you think about it though, he can get a bucket from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah.
But I felt like Kobe Bryant could get a bucket from anywhere on the floor. But Kobe wasn't as efficient as
I think that is what LeBron is saying about most equipped.
But he didn't say efficient.
No, he said efficient and that he can get a shot.
Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah, he said efficient. He's an efficiency guy, and that KD's efficiency matched with his ability to get a shot anywhere on the floor is why he's calling him most equipped. Because when we were prepping for this, I also was like, well, what is equipped? Like, that's not a term that we usually use to describe a player. But the way that LeBron breaks it down, I tend to agree with that.
I think the efficiency part in there, I don't have any issue with it at all.
Yeah, he's an incredibly efficient shooter.
Because he's the only player in NBA history to shoot 50% from the field, 39% from three, and 85% from the free throw line.
Yeah, that's efficient.
That's efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt about that, though. He's a scoring champ. He can do it all offensively. And at a high percentage, that's tough.
So you right there, too, anyway. So
I can do all the things Kevin can do offensively, though.
Yeah.
Like, I can do I probably had a little more because I was a better post-up player than him as far as getting into the paint. Like, he got his fadeaways, he got his jab, but I think I was a better post-up player than him. But pretty much everything else, I could do what he did. Offensively.
Okay. Talk that.
Offensively. You guys know I adore Paul Pierce. I think that for the most part, he does speak the truth as much as he can on, Fox Sports Network, right? So, I'm here for it. What the work that he's doing on FS1, I appreciate it. I think that ESPN lost a talent when they fired him, and that was disappointing to me personally. But I enjoy him on Speak. I feel like this is his show. I feel like he's leading, and I enjoy him. He's entertaining. I think he's endearing. I think that he does a good job of poking fun at modern day NBA players without being super disrespectful. He just calls it like he sees it. So salute to Paul Pierce, the truth. And a lot of people think it's absolutely delusional that he's calling himself the most pure scorer in all of NBA history, the purest scorer in NBA history. I think that for some people, they find him to be a little bit delusional. And the reason is just because Paul Pierce, I don't think he ever earned a scoring title. And so when we take a look at some of the best scorers going all the way back to, 1982, it's just, we don't see LeBron James. I'm sorry. Paul Pierce isn't there. So I don't think ever any year he's dominated in scoring, not once. So, when you just take a look at this graphic here, we don't see Paul Pierce's face there. So when you talk about being the purest scorer, or you can score more ways than a person, a lot of people, they go to a place of, okay, well, we expect that to show up in the stat line, right? So I think that, it is something that it just felt delusional to people to hear. It's just like, oh, well, he's throwing himself into this conversation. I guess anybody can just throw themselves into it, right? Like anybody can just say anything. That's basically what the sports media world is saying. That's how they're taking it. That's how YouTube content creators are seeing it. They're like, really? You believe that you're a better scorer than Larry Bird? You believe that you're a better scorer than Kevin Durant? I mean, these are people that, they cooked in the Olympics. They have cooked throughout their careers. And I mean, Paul Pierce, I do believe him to be an underrated NBA player. I think Paul Pierce, his skill set, what he was able to do, to me, he was the real Luka Doncic before Luka Doncic. He didn't always have, so like he kind of at some points had like, not a dad bod, because Paul Pierce, I don't think he was ever out of shape to the extent that Luka Doncic was. But, as he got older, he wasn't the most muscular. He wasn't always the most athletic guy on the floor. Could he get to the rim? Was he still dunking the ball? Yes. But again, I just think that he had a high level skill in basketball. And, you saw that in so many different ways. When he was a Celtic in his prime, even outside of his prime, Paul Pierce could score the ball in many different ways. And he talks about that. So after the show commences, he was asked again, and I don't know if it was for fun. I don't know who asked him this, but I'm actually going to play it for you guys. NBA Cinema, salute to them. They actually created a video about this and Paul Pierce and his scoring, and they actually compared him to each and every NBA player that he said he was better than. But I just want you guys to see the hilarious video from Paul Pierce and, him basically saying, hey, I'm the best scorer. I can score better than this person, that person. So we'll watch it, and then we'll react together.
I can score more ways than I like. Paul Pierce or Kevin Durant? I think I got a little more post game than Kev. We got a lot of the same person. Paul Pierce or Steph Curry? Oh, yeah, I can do more offensively. Paul Pierce or James Harden? Midi is better than James. Post game is better than James. Even on threes, going to the rack. Paul Pierce or T-Mac? Now that one was close. Wow. Man, T-Mac is amazing. He can post up. He can do a lot of things downstream, off the dribble. Man, I got to the line more than I'll take him. Last one, Paul Pierce or LeBron James? It's not even a conversation.
Not even a conversation. As soon as you get to LeBron James, not even a conversation that he can score better than him, that he can score more ways than him, that he's just a better scorer than LeBron. And LeBron James is the leading all-time scorer in NBA history. So how do you explain that? How do we explain that Paul Pierce believes that he's a better scorer than LeBron James, even though the stats don't show that? Because at what point do we use our eyes, right? So Paul Pierce claiming that he's a better scorer than LeBron, I believe him. And we watched what he's done to him. We've watched Paul Pierce punk him on the floor. We've watched the Celtics run LeBron James out of the arena. I mean, you just look at this picture. LeBron, he's never wanted the smoke. Look at Paul Pierce looking at him right in the face. Like, you can't even look at me. But yes, I mean, Paul Pierce has a post game. He has an outside game. He's a better shooter than LeBron. He's better than him at the free throw line. He's better than him from behind the arc. He's better at skillfully getting to the rim without having to bum rush the lane. He's just better. I have Paul Pierce ranked higher than LeBron James. I think Paul Pierce is a better player than LeBron James. I don't have LeBron in my top 10. I don't have him ranked high. I don't think that he's better than anybody that played before him. Guys that actually ran real offense and played defense there, for most of their career. So I'm with Paul Pierce that he's at least a better scorer than LeBron James. And can he do probably certain things better than Kevin Durant? For sure, because Durant doesn't have much of a post game. So, I think that there's something that Paul Pierce is absolutely making a case for himself. Do I believe him to be the purest scorer in all of NBA history? I really have to search myself for this to figure out how he came to that conclusion. I don't see it, but I'm not going to count him out. I mean, Kevin Durant said that there really were no holes in Paul Pierce's game. Kevin Durant responded with that. He responded with a tweet and he said, there really were no holes in Paul's game. That was his tweet. And I mean, you kind of have to agree with it in a way. Paul Pierce, he was able to score the ball in every which way that you can think. So yes, he's a better scorer than LeBron James. I guess I'm just going to say that. And I'm fine with that. And it's just so funny that he doesn't even give LeBron the respect of counting the ways. So it's like, okay, I'm a better scorer than you. Let me count the ways, right? He doesn't do that. He counts the ways with Kevin Durant. He respects him. He counts the ways with, Michael Jordan. He's saying and sharing, hey, this is why I'm a better scorer than this person. For when they get to LeBron James, it's just not even a question. It's not even a discussion. Get out of here. I thought that was really interesting. I would actually love to know what you guys think about this. Let's see. Did we get any other super chats? It looks like we did. Okay, so salute to I Set the Tone for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate you. One, how do you feel about these ex-NBA players dissing Kobe and MJ? They know MJ is back next year. Will they bend the knee? I do think that they will bend the knee. I think that they will backpedal so hard because what they're doing, they're going to fall flat on their face. The egg is going to be on their face. The whole media is going with MJ. The media is not on LeBron James' side and the NBA players' side that are against Michael Jordan. That's not what I'm seeing. I'm even seeing LeBron James apologists, supporters that, the paid Clutch Sports media members. I'm even seeing them do a complete, 180 and they're moving away from LeBron. So what I think about ex-NBA players dissing Kobe, I think that that's a complete disgrace. I think that they should be ashamed of themselves. I think that Kobe Bryant is rolling over in his grave. He is an NBA legend who's no longer here with us. And at the very least, I don't think that we should speak on people that are not here to defend themselves in a way that's disparaging, right? So, I'm fine with someone saying where they rank Kobe, but the dissing and the disrespect, I think it needs to stop. And I wish that the narrative of him being a sidekick would just disappear and go away. I just wish that the narrative that he's not even in the GOAT discussion would go away, because if he's not in the GOAT discussion, then LeBron James surely isn't. Kobe Bryant is better than LeBron James by a wide margin. And that's just by looking and watching with my two eyes. This is not about a stat line. Not everything is about stats, but that's what people like to make everything about. But it's not. It's not just about stats. It's not just about how long you play. It's not just about being on the floor for a million years. Be new. Thank you so much for the $2 super chat. What do you think about the KD shot at MJ? I'm going to get into that in another stream, probably tomorrow or maybe even in the morning, but I was disgusted with that. Quite frankly, Kevin Durant saying, oh, well, some of us like to play baseball. It was just totally unnecessary. And what's funny is that what I see in that Mind the Game video is Kevin Durant trolling. He's trolling. He's trolling LeBron James. He's trolling Michael Jordan. He's nowhere in the GOAT debate. So he's not a part of that discussion, right? So he's going to take shots wherever he can. He took shots at LeBron for passing the ball to Dorian Finney-Smith. He's like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. Not Dorian Finney-Smith. I can't put the ball in his hands for the last shot. And then later on, we see him take a shot at Michael Jordan, who, again, he doesn't compare to, and he's not going to be in that GOAT conversation. He's not going to be in the conversation with Michael Jordan, right? He's not there. So why don't I just, throw a monkey wrench in there as well and just have something to say about this, confuse fans, right? So I think that Kevin Durant, he enjoys trolling NBA fans, and I think that he truly enjoys like confusing us, creating and causing confusion. And I think LeBron James enjoys that as well. And that's what LeBron and Kevin Durant accomplished together on that episode. But they both should be ashamed of themselves. And I think LeBron even said again, we done with the 90s. Like, the 90s is the best era of basketball. So you can be done with it all you want. But the fact is that NBA fans are not done with it. We're done with you. We're done with Kevin Durant. We're done with, LeBron James. It's over. We want their careers to sunset. We're calling for that. And they are so delusional, they don't even see that. Kevin Durant talked about longevity. And that, the shot, I thought it was so disgusting, mainly because you don't know what it took for Michael Jordan to be a 6-time champion, because you weren't even in the finals 6 times. You don't know what it took to win 6 times. You don't know what it took to win 3 times back to back. You have no idea because you were not there. Okay, you were in the finals, Kevin Durant, but you couldn't make it. You let Draymond Green call you a bitch and you went off and left the team. Like what? A bitch. So, it's just really interesting. Kevin Durant shot at Michael Jordan. I think it's disgusting. I think it's in poor taste. All he's ever done in the past is jockstrap sniff Michael Jordan, So I will get into that. I'm going to take a deeper dive into that Mind the Game episode. And hopefully that's an episode that you guys will enjoy. But that is a preview of my take on that. Woofio, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Vince Carter and Brian Scalabrine are undefeated against LeBron. They sure are. What a great comment. You guys are absolutely hilarious. I really, really enjoy the engagement and everything that you guys are saying in the comment section. So thank you so much for being here and being a part of the stream. Do me a favor and smash the like button. Get these likes up for me, guys. Where are we at with likes? Let's see. Looks like we're at around 190 likes. We've got 322 people. I know we can get the likes up to 300. So smash the like button for me, guys. Run it up. But I want to get into the next topic. We're talking about Paul Pierce talking about how he's the greatest scorer, and these NBA players just coming out having these discussions, right? And there's a lot of ex NBA players that have things to say, right? So I think that we're going to see a lot of that, and we're going to continue to see that because Michael Jordan is coming back. People just want to be in the discussion. People want to just be having this discussion. They want to be known for talking about it. They want their name to trend. And, it brings me to my next topic because, funny enough, LeBron James, right? We know that he ducks the smoke, right? He's ducked the smoke in multiple situations, and the contest, the slam dunk contest, is just another situation where he's completely ran away from it, right? He's refused to participate in the slam dunk contest. And we have a former NBA player, I'm sorry, actually, so he's in the big three. So Jason Richardson, I don't know if you guys remember him, but he was a 2-time slam dunk champion. He played in the NBA a couple years, and now he's in the big three. And he's completely slammed LeBron James for never entering the slam dunk competition. And it's something that people have criticized him about over and over again. Kendrick Perkins has finally come around to that, train of criticizing LeBron and not saying only positive things and not continuing to say that he's the GOAT every second. Stephen A. Smith has criticized him for not participating in the dunk competition. And I mean, it's just something that NBA legends do. And so fadeawayworld.net actually reported this. This is where I saw the article. And, they say Jason Richardson laments LeBron James never entering iconic dunk contest. Jason Richardson, a 2-time NBA slam dunk contest champion and one of the most electrifying high flyers of his era, recently voiced his disappointment over a long-standing All-Star Weekend letdown. LeBron James' refusal to ever participate in the slam dunk contest. In an interview with Brandon Scoop B. Robinson, Richardson didn't hold back when asked if he was let down by LeBron's absence from the iconic event. Richardson goes on to say, I was a little bit, because if you look back at the history of the slam dunk contest, even when I was a kid, if you were a high flyer or if you were a superstar, you did the dunk contest, I'm going to repeat that for you guys again if you can't read it. When asked if he was let down by LeBron not competing in the slam dunk competition, he says, I was a little bit. Because if you look back at the history of the slam dunk contest, even when I was a kid, if you were a high flyer or if you were a superstar, you did the dunk contest, The article continues. LeBron, despite being widely regarded as one of the greatest athletes in NBA history and a generational dunker, has never participated in the event, a decision that has long disappointed fans, players, and even NBA legends. For years, fans expected James to inject his athleticism and creativity into the dunk contest, especially during his Miami Heat years when his vertical was at its peak. But the King never stepped into the spotlight for the midseason showcase, citing reasons ranging from risk of injury to prioritizing team goals. Richardson acknowledged that while he understands why LeBron passed on it, it was still a missed moment for fans. When asked by Robinson if LeBron, now 41 years old and entering his 23rd NBA season, could still give it a go, Richardson laughed it off with respect. In the dunk contest? No, because every time you leave the floor, it hurts your body. And especially for a guy like LeBron, I think this is his 22nd year. And if you add up all the games in the playoffs, he probably played another 5 to 6 years of basketball, which is adding the playoff games he had in the postseason. The article continues. So it's kind of hard for him to have a guy like that go out there and compete in the slam dunk contest, but it's still amazing what he's doing at 41, 42 years old, still playing in the NBA at a high level. To close off the article, indeed, LeBron's longevity and workload are unprecedented. With over 1,700 total NBA games played, including postseason appearances, he's arguably logged more mileage than any player in league history. Still, that reality doesn't erase the what ifs. In many ways, LeBron's slam dunk contest absence remains one of the few blemishes on his otherwise unparalleled resume. Even so, Richardson concluded by praising LeBron's durability and performance. A slam dunk contest appearance may never happen, but LeBron's impact and the echo of what could have been still hovers in the air. Guys, I thought that this article, and I thought that Jason Richardson nailed it. I mean, of course, and I just want to emphasize the end of the article where he just has to talk about LeBron James's longevity, what he's doing at 41, 42, still playing in the NBA at a high level. It's just like this regurgitated line. For me, there's certain words in the NBA that just get so tiring and annoying for me. It's like the word of the year last year was seismic. And every time we talk about LeBron, he's still playing at a high level. Oh my gosh, give me a break. So yeah, I think it's absolutely disappointing that LeBron James has never, ever played in the dunk, never participated in the dunk competition. If you're a superstar in the league, you've got to do it. It's really important. And I mean, he's kind of created a culture where NBA players, they don't want to work. They don't want to participate in these things. They don't care about the fans. So there's no appreciation. There's no fan appreciation anymore. When you have a superstar that doesn't want to compete in the slam dunk competition and is supposedly known for having amazing dunks in game, and they're a high flyer and they're refusing this, it's just a disgrace. And the reasons why they refuse, it's not about injury. It's about the potential of embarrassing themselves on social media. But it's like, you have horrible turnover reels. LeBron has some of the worst turnover blooper reels that I've ever seen in my life. He's a Shaq and a fool. So it's just an excuse. To me, you don't want to participate in the dunk contest because you won't win. That's why LeBron won't do it. The other players, they won't do it because they're worried about embarrassment. LeBron just doesn't want to do it because he's going to lose. He's not a creative dunker. He never has been. And yeah, it's unfortunate that he couldn't give back to the fans in this fashion. Everybody's been asking for it his whole career, and he just refused. And then wants to call himself the GOAT, the king. What a joke. I just think LeBron James, Clutch Sports is a disgrace. The way that they lie to NBA fans, the public, it's just disgraceful. And, you have Jason Richardson, he's calling him out, but he's calling him out in a way that's just like, hey, as a fan, as somebody who's played the sport, as somebody who's competed in a dunk contest, I would have appreciated if LeBron James did it too. I would appreciate if he didn't let this part of the game die. But he did. He just allowed for the dunk competition to die. LeBron James is the reason that All-Star Weekend looks the way it does. He never cared about it. And it's like, what do you care about, LeBron James? You don't care about winning titles. You don't care about the fans. I think LeBron just cares about the narratives and the legacy that he's going to manufacture. I get that. But yeah, LeBron never competed in the dunk contest, and that was trending over the weekend, that what Jason Richardson said. I thought that it was really interesting. I do want to take a moment, and I want to allow for you guys to call in if you have a chance. I'll take one phone call. It doesn't have to be on this topic. We've talked about quite a bit already, but I just wanted to take a little break and give you guys an opportunity to call in. I'll take one phone call. And I really appreciate Jennifer Golston. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for the $5 super chat. Cash app. Really appreciate you. And thank you to everybody who's been donating lately. It means a lot. I also want to take a moment to salute the members of the channel. I have content coming for you soon. It's been a crazy time, but I'm going to get to it. We're going to talk about all things WNBA. I think it's going to be really amazing. Honestly, it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm really excited. So salute to the members of Sports Tea and salute to all the moderators that hold me down in the chat. Guys, let's see, where are we at with likes? Looks like we're at 226. I know we can make it to 300. So run up these likes. And I guess so since no one's calling in, I'm going to go ahead and move on. But, so LeBron James, he never, ever participated in the dunk contest, right? I get that, that he didn't want to do it, maybe for embarrassment. Maybe he thought that he was going to lose. But, over the past couple of days, I would say the past 2 weeks or so, LeBron James has made it a point, right, to kind of make NBA fans, make the Lakers, organizations all across, the NBA sort of question what is he going to do? What's his next move in year 23 in the upcoming, season? What is actually going to come of LeBron James's stint on the Lakers? Is he going to stay there? Right? There's even a rumor that LeBron will be potentially headed to the Mavs. Right. So, and this is months ago, as soon as I think so when in February, when Luka Doncic was first traded to the Lakers from the Mavericks in a shocking trade that sort of, just it hurt him personally and emotionally. Right. And it was hard for him. So he goes to the Lakers and everybody thought that LeBron James was behind this trade. That's what everybody thought. And I was saying this, Ticket TV was saying this, that it's just not true. LeBron James didn't know anything about it. He would never trade for Luka. He doesn't want to lose control. He doesn't want to be a second option. That's not what he wants to do, right? And so I thought it was really interesting. And in Ticket TV, salute to Ticket, he actually had the idea that LeBron James was going to want to go to the Mavericks because that's where Anthony Davis was. That's where Kyrie Irving is. These are people that he won titles with. These are people who are still playing prime basketball and can still deliver. And the Mavericks they have a lot of depth, especially in, they have bigs, they have rebounders, they have defensive players, they have rim protectors. The Mavericks are a good team and they should be positioned to win now that Luka Doncic is no longer there. They have a good coach in Jason Kidd. And I think that they have the bones of good leadership in Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. And they've got some really scrappy players over there. So like I said, it's really interesting that now the report is that LeBron James might just go to the Mavs. And supposedly the Mavericks are only interested in LeBron. They're not interested in taking his $52 million contract. So they have no interest in that. They're not interested in trading anybody for him, but they will pick him up, I guess, on some sort of veterans min if the Lakers buy him out. And it's just so hilarious to me. Like, why would the Lakers want to buy him out? Why? Could it be just to get rid of his locker room problem? I mean, I think that LeBron James is a cancer in the locker room just because he doesn't want to play defense. So even if he's not making, an actual direct issue, his lack of play on the floor, his lack of being willing to do what he's asking his teammates to do, I think raises a locker room issue. Him being the de facto coach and de facto GM, all of that kind of conflict of interest, I just think it kills a locker room ultimately because guys can't be themselves. They're playing with his bum son, LeBricky, LeBum, Carlton Banks. Like, this is who they're playing with. So, the Lakers culture, it can't be all that great. Let's be for real. It just can't be. But, ESPN, that show Get Up, they discuss this and they go into what it would look like if LeBron James becomes a Maverick. Does he join Dallas? And, I have the sound and we're going to listen together and then we'll react.
About LeBron's future.
Dallas, I'm told that they would only be interested in LeBron in a buyout situation. So, and again, we just
because there is a deal to be made there.
Right.
If they wanted to make a deal, there's a deal.
Yeah, there's a deal to be made there. But I don't believe that's happening.
McMahon, what's your reaction to what Dave had to say there?
I mean, it completely makes sense. Is there a deal to be made, a trade from the Mavericks to get LeBron? you can punch it up in the trade machine. All the Mavericks have to do is completely gut their rotation, give up guys like Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, maybe a Najee Marshall, Max Christie, whatever. You're giving up 3 or 4 rotation players for potentially a ring-chasing retirement tour. That doesn't make sense for Dallas. It doesn't make sense for LeBron because he has no trade clause. Hold on, I want to play with those guys, not have them go to L.A. So there is kind of curiosity around the league. Like, could this end with LeBron bullying his way to a buyout? Now, why would the Lakers do that? That's a great question. I don't have a good answer for that one. But yeah, that is the only path I could see for LeBron James to come join Kyrie, Anthony Davis, a couple of his former championship teammates in Dallas.
How do you make any sense of all this?
This is the NBA.
Okay.
This is what happens. We have a lot of conversations like this around the NBA where things just don't make a lot of sense. And this doesn't make really any sense. We're not talking about the Milwaukee Bucks waving Damian Lillard, who has a torn Achilles, and they're desperately trying to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. We're talking about LeBron James, who was a second-team All-NBA player last year, who still is one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world, like he was for so much of his career. And again, as McMahon pointed out, yes, the Lakers could, in theory, do LeBron a favor and allow him to just go play for whoever he wants. However, 5 days ago, LeBron James had a choice. He could be a free agent on Sunday. What did he choose to do? He chose to take $52.6 million. By the way, if I had a choice between $0 and $52.6 million, I too would take $52.6 million. So I understand why LeBron James opted into his contract. However, by opting into his contract, the Lakers now have one of the 10 to 15 best players on the planet under contract for the 2025-26 season, when, by the way, they have Luka Doncic, one of the 5 best players on the planet, under contract and on their team. So you would think the Lakers would love to have 2 of the best players on the planet playing together on their team next season, which last season when they were together, they won 50 games and were a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. So I would say that's how this is still going to end. But until, as you have said, Dan, repeatedly this week, we get something from LeBron or the Lakers saying, LeBron James is going to be a Laker next season, we're going to continue to have this kind of discussion.
It's just kind of hanging out there, right? And we can talk all about how it's not realistic and all the kind. But I mean, I want to ask about the Luka end of it, right? We're talking about this is a team that has to build around Luka for the future, regardless of what happens with LeBron, how much longer he wants to play, all that kind of stuff. So if you're looking at it from his perspective, like, what's your read on the LeBron situation?
Well, imagine the Lakers going to Luka and saying, hey, we bought out LeBron James, saying, okay, Luka says, well, what does that mean for me? They said, well, your second best player is Austin Reeves, your third best player is DeAndre Ayton. We got nothing back for LeBron James. We're going to pay this dude $50 million to go to the Dallas Mavericks team and make that team better because we know how much you love the Dallas Mavericks right now. There is absolutely no sell for this, especially when you think about the fact that Luka Doncic has to be, he's got to come back to his Lakers team after a year. They have to convince this dude to stay, and saying that we're paying for LeBron James to go somewhere else to make LeBron James happy.
We have talked a ton about this decision LeBron James made on Sunday. Yeah. The biggest decision of the Laker offseason was not whether LeBron James opted in or out of his contract on Sunday. It's whether or not Luka Doncic decides to extend his contract or not on August 2nd when he is eligible to do so. And the Lakers cannot jeopardize that. And to me, if I'm Luka Doncic, if I look at the Lakers and they just, to David's point, just let LeBron James walk to go anywhere, I'm not sure why I would look at the Lakers as a place I'd want to be long-term, because you're just completely handicapping this team next year. And by the way, for Luka Doncic, 2 years ago, he's in the NBA Finals. He gets traded to the Dallas Mavericks this past season, or from the Dallas Mavericks to the Lakers this past season, a team that's not nearly as good, that obviously hopes to be in that sort of conversation later. If LeBron James now walks away and he goes from being in the finals to now being on a team that's all but certainly going to be in the lottery next year, that would be, to me, just a wild set of circumstances for one of the best players in the league.
McMahon, quick final word on this for now.
Yeah, I would just like to see Rob Pelinka, Genie Plus, explain to Luka, hey, we're donating LeBron to the Dallas Mavericks, the team that dumped you, stabbed you in the back, shamed you on the way out the door. But trust us, we know what you're doing. You want to be here long term. We're completely a competent franchise that you can put your faith in.
Amazing sales pitch.
I'd like to hear that conversation.
Yeah, so an amazing sales pitch.
Maybe we'll get more information this weekend than we got last weekend about what the true intentions are in all of this. But buy or sell in the NBA. Let's start in Denver. David.
Guys, the media is out on LeBron. I mean, they think that he's a joke. They think Clutch Sports is just nothing more than, gossiping, immature little babies that they just want attention. Honestly, that's how the media is treating this. That LeBron James to the Mavericks is a joke. It's just all about LeBron getting more attention during the offseason. We can't focus on the guys that just won an NBA title. We can't keep celebrating that. We have to talk about him. And I thought that was really interesting, that I think it was Tim Bontemps that he said, he was just like, what do I think about this? I don't think anything of it. It's the NBA. That's just what, this is just noise. And all the noise around LeBron, it's just a distraction. It's just a deflection from the fact that he was a first-round knockout again. LeBron's played for the Lakers. How many seasons has it been? Is it 7 seasons now? 7, 8 seasons with the Lakers, and he's only gotten out of the first round twice. That doesn't sound like a very successful tenure, and it makes me feel like they're headed towards a really nasty divorce. Every season can't be about where's LeBron going to go. Like, you're a Laker and you're trying to put yourself above the franchise. You're trying to make yourself above the NBA. LeBron James is a narcissist. He thinks it's all about him. It's so hard for me to believe that anybody on his team enjoys playing with him. It's just, it's impossible. What Rob Pelinka and Jeannie Buss are doing, they're forcing him out. They're forcing him out. They want to be done with this. And so he's going around putting out statements through Rich Paul. And now the whole media is talking about where LeBron James is going to go. It's laughable. I think the funniest inquiry about where LeBron was going to go was LeBron James being possibly traded to the Knicks. I mean, do you guys even believe that the Lakers are going to buy LeBron James out? What do you guys think about that? Do you believe that they're actually going to buy his contract out? Why won't they just, let him finish? Okay, hopefully this is his last career. That's my hope. Is it not? This is his last year. So hopefully this is his last year in the league, year 23, right? That's his jersey number. Hopefully this is going to be his farewell tour. And you would think he'd want that to be with the Lakers and not trying to go ring chasing. That's pathetic. For a superstar of LeBron James's caliber, a billionaire, a guy who calls himself the GOAT has to go and ring chase his last year in the league. Please. But as a Knicks fan, as, a New Yorker, somebody from, the city, I don't want LeBron James on the Knicks. And there's just been a whole lot of chatter. Should LeBron James be traded to the Knicks? Should the Knicks actually make a deal for LeBron? Should they move pieces around for LeBron James to bring him there? He already passed on New York in 2010, and that was just gone since then. So since 2010, New Yorkers don't want LeBron. LeBron doesn't want New York. This is fake news. LeBron's never going to New York City. We don't want New York fans do not even like LeBron. They don't. And of course, you have Nick Wrong speculating. And here's what Nick Wrong had to say. He's just, the guy is just so delusional. But here's what he had to say.
They're going to draft pick.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, that wasn't it.
About LeBron's future.
No, where is it? Maybe it's this one.
If you are the New York Knicks right now in a wide open Eastern Conference, and you just hired Mike Brown, who has, been to a finals with LeBron, you're not having a very long meeting about Karl Anthony Towns for LeBron James and how that works. And then calling the Lakers and seeing if they're interested. And the Towns for LeBron thing, DeMonze, here is the pros and the cons of it. The cons for the Knicks obviously are, guy's 10 years older than the other. That's con number one, right? Your team dynamic changes considerably. That's potentially con number two. The pros, in my opinion, are, oddly, by adding a guy in year 23, a 40 guy who's going to be 41, you actually get better defensively for two reasons. One is it's more Mitchell Robinson minutes instead of Towns. So that definitively, that helps you a lot defensively. But also, as LeBron showed last year, once they got Luka, if he's not the primary offensive creator, he still has the ability to be a good, not great defender like he once was, but good defender if that's where he can put his energy. The other sneaky pro for the Knicks is, do they actually want to move Towns before he wants this next mega extension? When they traded all those picks for Bridges, and you're going to have to extend him, and you've already extended OG.
Wasn't Mike Brown fired because of LeBron? Like, why the hell would he want to work with him again? I don't think so. Okay. I don't see it. And the Knicks do not want LeBron James. Trust me, Jalen Brunson doesn't want to play with LeBron James. He doesn't want that. He would never. And trading Karl Anthony Towns for LeBron James is a joke. They don't get better defensively by adding in LeBron James because Mitchell Robinson gets more minutes. That's not what happens. LeBron James continues to suck up all 44 minutes of the game. That's what's going to happen. He doesn't want those old man minutes, right? That's what he said. He doesn't want minutes restrictions. He's the person who's the most in shape on the floor. So he should be able to spend every minute in the game. He's got to make his points. He's got to try to get his triple double. So I don't think that LeBron James coming to the Knicks means more minutes for anybody. It actually means less. So, Nick Wright is wrong about this. The New York Knicks trading for LeBron is not going to happen, and it shouldn't happen in any scenario. There's no scenario where it sounds good or looks good. Jalen Brunson is extremely ball dominant. So is LeBron. He's not a good defender at all when forced to play off the ball. So I don't know what the hell people are talking about. Having a defensive moment and being a defensive player and putting in the effort on defense, those are two totally different things. LeBron has defensive moments. He'll have a defensive read. He's not defensive. He hasn't played defense since like 2015. It's a joke. But like I said, guys, LeBron James coming to New York, he can barely walk the streets, guys. He can barely walk the streets of New York. The fans don't want him there. And I have to shout out Uncommon Sense because I caught this from him. He pulled the video from TMZ and he pretty much exposed that LeBron was getting booed in New York City. He was at Fanatics Fest and a fan completely torched him. He did nothing. He had no response. He has a clap back for everything, but not that fan, and not when he's in New York, because it gets chippy out there. You don't want to play around with New Yorkers, that's for sure. So, he did the right thing by just continuing to walk through the crowd, but it was awful. They didn't just troll him, they disrespected him. And it's just like it feels like LeBron James is the kind of player that gets disrespected and that people can disrespect. And I thought that we don't want him there. So LeBron James, if you're watching Sports T, Clutch Sports, if you're watching Sports T, Lakers, if you're watching, do not send him there. Please. Do not send him to New York.
And I want my damn respect too.
Get out of here, LeBron. Go back to LA. I'm coming to New York with that boo. 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 LeBron. LeBron. You never beat Jordan. You never beat Jordan, my Oh, Kobe. You fucking Kobe. Get out of here.
Oh my gosh, guys. That's what happens when LeBron James goes to New York. Look, for those of you that missed it, look at what happens to LeBron James when he goes to New York City.
And I want my damn respect too.
Get out of here, LeBron. Go back to LA. I'm coming to New York with that boo. 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 LeBron. LeBron. You never beat Jordan. You never beat Jordan, my Oh, Kobe. You fucking Kobe. Get out of here.
I can't. You never beat Jordan. LeBum. Like, could you imagine that? If that was Russell Westbrook walking through the streets of New York and somebody called him Westbrick, he would have raised up. He pulled right up on them. What'd you say? What was that? Not LeBron. And look, he did the right thing. You don't know what's going on. You don't want to put yourself in any kind of danger, but LeBron can't come to New York. He can't play for us. It's just, it's not going to happen. He doesn't want to be there. Okay, so I get it. He wore that towel around his neck, the Knicks towel, when he was in the Garden because he likes the chatter. He's a Kardashian. He likes the rumors. Rumor has it he likes stuff like that. So we don't want him in New York. We keep it way too real. We're not going to lie for LeBron. When we see him not playing defense, the Daily News, the New York Times, they are going to annihilate him. That's what's going to happen. When we see him turn the ball over and not run back on defense, we will talk about his defensive effort. We will talk about him turning the ball over. We will talk about him, and poorly. And we'll call him LeBum. We'll call him LeBrick. LeBrick will be right on the cover. When Carmelo Anthony played for New York, we spared no punches. When he did not play defense, the New York Times, the Daily News ripped him apart. Front page. Not the sports section, front page. So again, you know, there's no home for LeBron James in New York City. And look, guys, if you missed it, this is what happens when he goes to New York.
And I want my damn respect too.
Get out of here, LeBron. Go back to LA. I'm from New York. Boo! 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 LeBron! LeBron! You never beat Jordan. You never beat Jordan, my Oh, Kobe. You from Oh, Kobe. You from out of here.
Boo! LeBum! LeBum! Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's what happened to LeBron when he just innocently went to New York for Fanatics Fest. We don't like him. It's not going to change. We don't want him. Nope. LeBron, stay in LA. Go anywhere else. Just don't go to New York. You see what happens. LeBron's not safe there. Okay, he's not safe in New York. His mental health won't survive. So I'm not talking about physically something's going to happen to him, but his mental health won't make it. He will crumble in New York City. He never could make it there. So now that's a case closed. Okay, LeBron, should the Knicks trade for LBJ? No. But what do you guys think? What do you guys actually think about this? We'll read some super chats and then I'll read some general comments as well. From Jay Anderson, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Two guys that couldn't live up to the 90s like Kobe and Duncan did. And I know what you're referring to. You're referring to LeBron James and Kevin Durant on Mind the Game, popping shit about the 90s and players who played in the past that they can't live up to. You can't live up to Michael Jordan's legacy, but you're talking about how he went to play baseball. He played 15 seasons to LeBron's 22, going on 23, and still accomplished more. And he really only played 13 seasons, and he really only played 11 seasons in his prime. And still, in those 11 seasons, in that 11-season span, accomplished more than Kevin Durant and LeBron James put together. Can you believe that? His resume is longer than Kevin Durant's and LeBron James put together. So I love that comment, Jay Anderson. You're 100% correct. And yeah, that's actually one of my main points that I'm going to be using when I cover that. But Woofio coming through with another super chat. Salute to you for the $5. LeBron has 2 dunks. He'd be out the first round like his Lakers stint. I couldn't agree with you more. He's not creative. I don't think that he's one of the best dunkers that ever lived or ever played. I just think he can get to the rim. Stevie J, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I just seen his clown ass disrespect Wilt. I mean, he's been disrespecting Wilt. He disrespects anybody that can challenge his GOAT argument. So, you know, when it comes to Michael Jordan, he has to discredit the rings. But he says that his stats are what makes him the GOAT. And so he's got to go and discredit Wilt Chamberlain because Wilt Chamberlain was the GOAT before Michael Jordan. It wasn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wilt Chamberlain was considered the GOAT amongst NBA fans. Amongst NBA players, Bill Russell was considered the GOAT. So Wilt Chamberlain never actually came out and called himself the GOAT. He was just saying Michael Jordan wasn't. He was saying he was defending his legacy, his time period. And Wilt Chamberlain believed that Bill Russell was the GOAT. And so LeBron James has to discredit Wilt Chamberlain because his stats aren't better than Wilt's. He can't reach the heights of Wilt Chamberlain. So he says things like it didn't even exist. And I've made videos about that. So LeBron James is a complete disgrace. So is Clutch Sports, and Kevin Durant for even, teaming up with him for Mind the Game and making those disgraceful comments. He should be ashamed of himself, but he's been trolling all year. He flat out came out and said, he doesn't give a shit about these fans. He doesn't care about the fans. If we don't like All-Star, we just need to stop going. That's what he told us. Don't come, basically. So, the next super chat from Wufio coming through with another $5. LOL, LeBron ain't going to play for someone who embarrassed him in the finals. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you would think, right? You would think that he's not going to go to the Mavericks and play there. But what if he does get this buyout? What if he bullies his way into a buyout, just like, they were saying on Get Up? What if that actually happens? Where would he decide to go? Who's championship ready if they just add LeBron there? There's a couple of teams. He could go to the Rockets. He can go to the Mavericks. He can go anywhere and sit at the end of the bench on a buyout from the Lakers. But I think it's embarrassing to be bought out. A superstar of his magnitude should never be bought out. He should be allowed to stay on the Lakers his last year and just sort of go on with his business and retire and do the farewell tour. But something tells me that, this buyout, it's just not going to happen. It's way too embarrassing for LeBron at this stage in his career. I don't see it happening. The only way the Lakers buy LeBron out is if he does something that breaks the relationship, that causes them to divorce, like that creates a really nasty divorce, because they're headed towards divorce. But it's just, what does that divorce look like? And how nasty is it going to get? So I think the buyout could signal a very nasty divorce from the Lakers and LeBron James. Wufio, another $5. LeBron even got a losing record in the All-Star game when he's picked his entire team of All-Stars. I mean, he's picked his entire team of All-Stars, his entire team of regular season teammates, his playoff teammate. He's constantly picking and manufacturing. And I think that that's a huge reason why LeBron James's career fell short of where he wanted it to be. Because, the saying, cheaters never win. I mean, they do sometimes, but he wants to be called the GOAT. So anything less than that is a loss for him. And we're just not willing to concede that. No one is actually willing to say that LeBron James is the GOAT. They're just really not. No one of real credibility is willing to say that. Another super chat from Wufio coming through hot. Thank you so much and salute to you. LeBron James ain't going to end to New York now that his booty guard Diddy lost clout. And you know what? Just the simple fact that people believe that he was part of the Diddy parties, And so what happens if Diddy actually gets out of jail or doesn't serve that much time? Like, what actually happens there? Like, what does that relationship look like? He didn't come out speaking up for him. Is LeBron going to start going to the freak offs when Diddy's out of jail? Because he's not going to do life in prison, even if he gets a couple years. I mean, will LeBron be at the next freak off? If LeBron is really Diddy's booty guard, then is Diddy leaving LeBron James messages like this?
Got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. Be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is.
I mean, can you guys imagine LeBron James coming to New York and Diddy's telling him he needs to get on his job? Imagine that. You need to get on your job. You could feel how you want to feel. I was in jail. You want to be mad about it? We can argue about it, but
be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is.
That's all it is. Get on your job.
Got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice.
I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. So on that note, let's take a look at where we're at for likes. We have 322 people watching. We're still not at 300 likes, guys. I know we can do it. Come on, guys.
Got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice.
Left me no choice. Smash the like button, guys. So honestly, guys, the Cook Fest gets even more interesting, I got to tell you. Obviously where LeBron James is going, it's been a hot topic, obviously, in the NBA offseason. So, the Thunder have won the title. Tyrese Halliburton is injured for, the rest of the season. We've had some real notable trades. I mean, first of all, Damian Lillard was waived by the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, can you guys believe that he was waived by the Milwaukee Bucks? And yes, I mean, he had the Achilles. He didn't really want to be in Milwaukee. He's been sort of, playing like shit, right? I mean, I get that. But, it's just all we talk about, even in the offseason, is still LeBron James. Damian Lillard was waived. So the Bucks were able to waive Lillard's contract, right? And they were able to get Miles Turner. Just so many things have been going on, but yet we're at the mercy of Clutch Sports. The cult leader, Rich Paul, and LeBron James. We're at their mercy because somehow, some way, they've got to make it all about them. The story always has to tie back to LeBron James and bleed into, some sort of wild storyline that's never usually about basketball. So this NBA season, it's so funny. I was watching the Skip Bayless show. I happened to come across a video that was absolutely hilarious. Okay. He's referring to LeBron as a scam artist. He's calling him the biggest phony, the biggest scam artist we've ever seen. And I've said this before in the past. I mean, LeBron James is the most skillful at gaslighting. I think I had a thumbnail titled "Le Great Gaslight" because that's what he does to us. He gaslights us. Every criticism that we have, it's called hate. We're not allowed to look at what he does on the floor and say, hey, you turned the ball over 8 times in this game. Probably wasn't your best game. That's called hate. When we say that he's not the GOAT, that's called hate. So, Skip Bayless has been one of LeBron James's biggest detractors throughout his entire career. And he absolutely ethers LeBron. I mean, ethers him. I think it's like a 48-minute video of just straight LeBron ether. It's just a straight LeBron cook fest. He cooks LeBron like literally in a frying pan. Okay. A deep fry. So he deep fries LeBron in this video, and I've got to play this sound for you, and then we'll react together. Let's see, where do I have it? Maybe is it this one?
Well,
no, I think it's
now back to LeBron and that picture. All of a sudden, over July the 4th. This picture pops up on the internet featuring, and of course, shirtless LeBron at the Cavs facility in Cleveland, taking a picture with a kid who's obviously a big LeBron fan. Denver Jones is his name. Of course, if you watch the NCAAs, he started for Auburn this year through their NCAA run. He did not get drafted, but he is playing for the Cavs in the Summer League, so he was at the facility in Cleveland. I don't think Denver Jones posted this picture. Can't find him on social media, but somehow this picture was initially posted on a website called Ball Out Media, which has a grand total of 3,300 followers. Then, of course, it got picked up by Hoop Central. And guess who replied to that pickup? The king of social media, LeBron James. This is what he replied. And every summer since it was built, I live here still and train every summer. God damn y'all bored, man. Go get a plate of food somewhere and enjoy the 4th of July, replied LeBron bleeping James. Okay, so obviously by then, every major media platform was picking up the picture of a shirtless LeBron with his arm around this prop kid. And everyone out there was putting 2 + 2 together and getting 3, as in LeBron's going to play a third time for the Cavaliers and help them win another championship. What a fairy tale ending for LeBron. And LeBron knew exactly how to pour skyrocket fuel on this fire by scoffing at the runaway speculation. Wink, wink, chuckle, chuckle. Wink, wink, chuckle, chuckle. Y'all stop. Wink, wink, chuckle, chuckle. Which inspired billions of blind witnesses out there to run to their keyboards and type away. Hell with those sorry Lakers. The GOAT is going back to Cleveland, where they have 2 great bigs and a much better chance of winning the king another ring. Bron, this was just brilliant dedication to duping. I mean, come on, man. I doubt you spend more than a week a year back home in Akron. I could be wrong, but I have never once heard of you going back to Cleveland to train in any of your 7 Laker summers. Not one time. I don't remember any other pictures over the years of you training at the Cavs facility. Maybe I missed it. Maybe you did. Maybe just to remind the Lakers you're still in charge and you just might finish your career right back where it started. I don't know. Maybe that happened and I missed it, but I don't remember it. What a duplicitous diva LeBron James can be. I wonder which member of LeBron's team made sure that picture of him with his arm around Denver Jones got leaked to little ball out media. Oh, you just know there's a story there. With LeBron, there's always some juicy backstory. I'm just surprised somebody hasn't tried to read into this picture with Denver Jones, the hidden agenda that, oh, LeBron is signaling he's going to the Nuggets. I'm sure somebody somewhere has speculated LeBron to Denver, 2 bigs, Joker and Valanciunas. But here's the upshot of all this. Despite the playoff flameout, despite 2-12, LeBron, the king, he's back in charge, in command and demand. Back on top of the NBA world, whose strings he pulls like a 6'9" puppet master. Pull, Bron, pull. Dupe, Bron, dupe. Deflect that blame. Rewrite that narrative. Flip that script. You won out because the Lakers failed and betrayed you. Love it. Drive it. Send your media minions running to their keyboards to spread your propaganda, your fake news. As I've long said, GOAT LeBron always has needed a scapegoat. This time, it's Rob Pelinka. You're it, Rob. Wait, Bron, your Lakers had the second best odds in the West to win the West? Your Lakers were strongly favored to beat Minnesota, but lost in 5 because you, GOAT, went 27 straight fourth quarter minutes over games 3, 4, and 5 without scoring a single point? Wait, you're 2-12 in your last 3 Laker playoff series because you and your clutch gene have gone missing in fourth quarter after fourth quarter after fourth quarter? Huh? But you, Lacan, have buried all that dead true negativity under an avalanche of, where is LeBron going now? You've again become the story of the summer, even bigger than Kevin Durant going to Houston. Even though you're coming off what might be your biggest playoff flameout ever. I am in awe of what you have masterminded post-flameout. You, phony GOAT, are the king of phony baloney. And I, for one, Lacan, will not swallow a single bite of it. Sorry, not I. Whew. Now, speaking of LeBron, it is time to update my all-time NBA top 10. Number 1 is obviously the GOAT, the man who went 6-0 with 6 MVPs in the finals, The man who never had one single playoff epic fail, even when he lost. He never needed any excuse because he scared the hell out of the team that won. The man who won 10 scoring titles to LeBron's one. The man who even won Defensive Player of the Year in the same year he won the scoring title. LeBron never won a Defensive Player of the Year. The man, that man. Now, number 2, as always, Magic Johnson, 4-time assist champ, 2-time steals champ. Believe that. The inventor of winning time for the Showtime Lakers. 5 rings with 2 losses to Larry Bird, 1 to Jordan, and 1 to a Game 1 hamstring pull at Detroit. Magic's playoff winning percentage is actually slightly higher than Jordan's. It's 67.4% to Jordan winning 66.5% of his games. LeBron is hovering down at 63% thanks to 15 years of cakewalks through the Eastern Conference playoffs. Just cakewalks. Number 3 on my list is still Shaq. Look, he did win 2 scoring titles. 10 times he led the league in shooting percentage. He won just 1 MVP. He was 4-2 in the finals. But listen, through that three-peat in that one big year when he averaged 30, 14, 4.
Oh, wow. Skip absolutely cooked. Cooked LeBron. Like, just went blood. I mean, and it was 48 minutes. So I just want you guys to know this was just a short clip. I honestly, I could have done the entire show tonight just breaking down his video and everything that he said about LeBron. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous that we when we talk about LeBron during this offseason, we're not talking about what he accomplished in this past season. We're talking about how we can't waste his last years in the league, that, you know, the Lakers need to do something for him. Rob Pelinka is the problem. Rob Pelinka traded for Luka Doncic. Rob Pelinka got DeAndre Ayton there. You know, he's put together this team that should be good. And when you take a look on paper, why isn't the DeAndre Ayton trade helpful to LeBron James? He's a legitimate center. He's a starting center. So that's what they needed. That's what they were looking for. Why isn't a lineup of Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and DeAndre Ayton, why is that not a good enough starting 5? Why? Why is LeBron James looking to leave from that? Why do you need more help than that? Skip Bayless calling LeBron James a duplicitous diva is hilarious. I feel like I genuinely feel as though Skip Bayless has been watching Sports Tea. I mean, has he? Skip Bayless, if you're watching this, have you been watching? Because a lot of what he says, LeBron James, really? Duplicitous diva? I'm not saying that Skip has no creativity, but it just feels like he's been watching Sports Tea. So salute to Skip Bayless. Thank you for always telling the truth about LeBron James. He doesn't always tell the truth about everything, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to certain kind of players and certain situations, like, he just completely goes off the deep end. But when it comes to LeBron James, he is straight down the line. And yeah, does he say some things that are, feel, like it's not always all about basketball, because LeBron James is so insufferable. It's not like LeBron James is keeping it all about basketball. So we're going to talk about all these other things and we're going to expose him. And that's just how it is. So, like I said, salute to Skip Bayless. I love that. Lacan artist. That's what LeBron James is. He is a duplicitous diva. He does create these devious, deceptive plans in order to manufacture his son's success and to pad his his phony GOAT legacy, to pad a legacy that nobody is saying truly exists. It's like he's in competition by himself. It's really crazy. It's like, he's got Michael Jordan on his brain constantly, and it's like Michael Jordan doesn't think of him at all. So really interesting stuff. I want to get into, the NBA offseason and some of the trades that have happened. And I mean, like Skip Bayless said, we're out here talking about LeBron James, and it's all to deflect and to distract us. It's just a complete distraction. It's a deflection from all the other really amazing offseason stories to talk about. I mean, the Knicks got a new coach, guys. The Knicks got a new coach. We're not talking about that enough. We're just not. We don't really have all that much to say about the real stories in the league, the storylines that we should be, talking about. And I think, when we think about all the moves that have happened, I mean, more than 10 different trades took place. We saw Desmond Bane go to Orlando. We saw, we saw Kevin Durant, most noticeably, go to the Houston Rockets. And Skip Bayless is so hilarious. He was just like, how did LeBron James become the story over Kevin Durant going to the Rockets? And, it is interesting. Kevin Durant's now playing for a coach that beat him. Celtics swept Brooklyn, and he's playing for that coach. So, that hasn't been a story. But how is where LeBron's going to go a fake planted story about LeBron James leaving the Lakers, which we know he's not going to do because he's a Kardashian? So Skip Bayless talked about that too. Like, hey, we know you're not leaving LA. We know that you're going to be right there in LA, soaking up all of your celebrity, making sure that the camera's on you and on Bronny, because we all know that Bronny likes the cameras. He said it. Oh, I love the cameras. Even though we lost, I love the cameras. LeBron James can't leave LA. Do you think he can give up being a Kardashian full-time? Even if he was part-time in LA, you think he wants to be a part-time Kardashian? Absolutely not. He's got to be in that role full-time. That's the job that he knows the best. So, now for the real meats and potatoes of the offseason, the storylines that actually matter. I want to let you guys know that right now, there's a rumor of Nikola Jokic going to the Lakers, that Rob Pelinka's plan, that he has this devious plan to bring Jokic to the Lakers to play alongside Luka Doncic. And was that really always the plan? Was Luka Doncic always going to be positioned as a number 2? Because we know that if Jokic goes to LA, he's the number 1. It's not going to be Luka Doncic. And is Luka Doncic going to be okay with that? That's the real question. So it is an interesting rumor. It was, I believe this was reported by a Bleacher Report, or either the Bleacher Report or Yahoo Sports. I can't remember which one. It might have also been Sports Illustrated, but the Lakers and Nuggets, they're predicted to be heading for Nikola Jokic, a Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic trade collision course. That's where they're headed. And so, the Los Angeles Lakers appear to be targeting the 2027 offseason as the summer they can take a gigantic swing to really lift up the post-LeBron James, Luka Doncic-led era of LA basketball. That's something that appears strange at first, and then you look at who might be available then, and his name is Nikola Jokic. Jokic can opt out of his contract after the 2026-27 season, so buckle up. Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus broke down all the tendrils to this situation recently, and it's certainly complicated. The basic thought, though, is that if Denver feels like Jokic is headed toward the opt-out, they'd probably try to trade him first and recoup some sort of value for their superstar. And if that happens, Luka Doncic is the selling point that the Lakers have. The hope is that Jokic's bond with Doncic is why he picks the Lakers. Denver would get most of what the Lakers have in terms of young players and draft compensation, Pincus says. So the article continues. A Doncic Jokic core, no matter who is around them, is an instant title contender. Pincus also throws out the wild idea that the Nuggets could try to trade for Doncic to keep Jokic happy. Jokic does have a strong relationship with the Lakers star, Pincus writes. The thinking is that Doncic isn't the kind of player who prioritizes living in a big city like Los Angeles. Even if Doncic does sign an extension this offseason, Denver might be able to jump in at the right time should Doncic eventually become unhappy in LA. Maybe some of this feels a tad over the top, but the NBA specializes in such deals. After all, did anyone see Doncic being traded from the Mavs to the Lakers in the middle of the season? So don't rule anything out, including a deal one way or the other that results in a Jokic and Doncic as teammates. So I think that this is an interesting development, guys. I really do. What I think is really interesting about it is that they're basically saying that one way or another, Jokic is going to be in, the LA conversation. So whether it's a straight up trade for Doncic for Jokic, which I don't see how, it's funny to me because I don't see why the Lakers would, I don't see why the Denver Nuggets are going to want to do that. I mean, if they have to, they have to, right? If they have to do it, they're going to do it. But, if they're up against, okay, well, Jokic is going to leave, we might as well go ahead and trade them. So could the Lakers grow frustrated with Doncic and his lack of conditioning, being fat coming into the NBA with a dad bod? Is that something the Lakers are going to continue to tolerate? I don't know, right? So that's a really good and I think interesting dynamic there. And we have something to sort of look toward, like, hey, could they become teammates? Could the Lakers just gut the team, trade a bunch of first round picks to the Denver Nuggets for Jokic? Who knows, right? So I think that that's a really interesting thing. I could see them being not good teammates because they're both very ball dominant. Jokic needs the ball in his hand. So yes, he's a center, but he can't dunk the ball. Neither can Luka. Luka and Jokic can't dunk the ball. So who's Doncic going to throw his lob passes to? That's what I want to know. He's busy dribbling the ball nonstop, dribbling the air out of the ball. Is Jokic really good? Like, Jokic is the triple-double king in the NBA. His stat lines are through the roof. He's had a 30-20-20 game. So how is there enough air on the team for Luka and Jokic? I don't think that this is a good move for either one of them. I don't think that they have the skill set to play off of each other. As talented as they both are individually, I don't see that being a good fit. They both need the ball in their hand. You have Jokic at 7 feet bringing the goddamn ball down the floor, getting ripped, turning it up because he needs the ball in his hand. So he's willing to sacrifice. So his sacrifice for the Denver Nuggets is, okay, I'm going to get 7 turnovers, but I'm also going to get 20 assists. And, I'm going to do all these things on the floor. I just need to control the game and the pace of the game. That's why he brings the ball down, because he's not fast. So he needs to control the pace. And, when they're playing pressure defense, that's when he gets ripped nonstop. That's what leads to those 7 turnover games. He shouldn't be bringing the ball down. But neither should Luka Doncic. He's not a point guard. He's just masquerading as one. So I thought that was a really good NBA offseason story. And when we think about who moved the needle the most, I do think that it's the Houston Rockets. They got Kevin Durant. So to me, that's the team who moved the needle the most for themselves in this NBA offseason. And I think that it was really interesting that they made this decision and this became public, the day of Game 7, NBA Finals Game 7. Houston Rockets is making a statement like, hey, we're letting you guys know we're coming, right? So I'm a fan of that trade. I thought some other interesting news that was reported was that Bradley Beal, he's looking to get out of Phoenix. Last season, he made a big deal about how he holds all the cards. Quite frankly, Bradley Beal is what's wrong with the NBA. No player should have a no trade clause. I get what he's trying to do by having that. So apparently his wife doesn't like to move all around, but it is what it is. I mean, this is a business. It's a professional sport. You're making millions and millions of dollars, and he stunk it up in Phoenix, and they should have been able to trade him, and they weren't able to do that. And that really sucked for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant wasn't able to stay there because of it. So the Booker Kevin Durant duo had to get broken up because Bradley Beal refused to lift his trade clause. And I, personally, I just thought that that was awful, but so Bradley Beal is now saying, okay, I'm willing to lift my trade clause, because obviously what he doesn't want is he doesn't want his value in the league to decrease so much, right? So if he's bought out by the Phoenix Suns, I mean, basically no team is going to pick him up for a large contract. So what he's got to do is take this buyout now while he's still young enough, right? And then he's got to go to another team and ball out. He's got to ball out with that team so that he can get a contract again. Because if he doesn't, he's out. He's out of the league. He's in China. His little comments, I hold all the cards, that's not going to age very well. It's going to age like spoiled milk. Okay? So 1 week removed from the start of NBA free agency, most of the league is without cap space or the necessary exceptions it would take to give Beal that much money on a 2-year contract. Various organizations Beal could consider can't give him that much either. According to a league source, the list of teams Beal has thought about includes the LA Clippers, Golden State Warriors, Los Angeles Lakers, and Milwaukee Bucks, wrote Fred Katz. Beal has 2 years remaining on his current contract and is owed roughly $110 million over that trip. Could you imagine that? $55 million to Bradley Beal, a guy who's been sitting on the bench, a guy that you relegated to the bench, a guy that's got poor conduct. I mean, a guy that refused to let you trade him. I hold all the cards. I'm stinking it up, but I hold all the cards. After Kevin Durant was traded, the Suns continue their hopes of completely retooling their roster with hopes of getting Beal out of town, which is something they weren't able to do thanks to his no trade clause. And yeah, I mean, they weren't able to get him out. They couldn't get, we would be having a totally different conversation right now if Beal lifted that trade clause and allowed for the Phoenix Suns to trade him. We'd still have Kevin Durant in Phoenix. We'd have Jimmy Butler there in Phoenix, and they would have been a contender. That's what would have happened. But it didn't go down like that. It didn't happen that way. Bradley Beal didn't want to get on his job. He didn't want to get in the game and do anything worth a damn. He absolutely played like garbage truck juice alongside Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. Absolute garbage truck juice. But, guys, I really feel like the Knicks made some progress, right? I think that firing Thibodeau was a move that everybody was against. He took them to the Eastern Conference Finals. They had not been there in 25 years. So, that to me, the Knicks sort of story this year, it was an interesting one because, again, they have been chasing after, just a deep playoff run for many, many years, and bringing Jalen Brunson there, making all of the moves that they made last season, bringing Cat, that proved to be successful. Right. And so, who else did they pick up? They picked up Jordan Clarkson, guys. And I think that was an amazing trade for them. It gives them a little bit more depth in scoring. Clarkson is a good scorer. He did come off the bench, but he's got athleticism. He's got the scoring. He's a hard worker. I think that he's really somebody super serviceable that the Knicks can really use. And but to me, the biggest win for the Knicks was finally hiring a coach. I think it was looking really bad to New York fans and the public that they fired Thibodeau and nobody was willing to speak to them. So Ime Udoka rejected them. A variety of coaches rejected the Knicks and just refused to talk to them. And it's just so funny because I think it was Rob Parker. He said that it's so funny. He said that the Knicks wanted Larry Brown and they got Charlie Brown. And let me find that video for you guys because it is really funny. And I've got some sound on that, and I want to play it for you guys because it is really, really funny. So literally, he's like, yeah, the Knicks, they wanted Larry Brown. They wanted that kind of coach. And instead, they got Charlie Brown. And the Mike Brown hiring, I think that Mike Brown is a good coach. I don't think that he deserved to get fired I didn't think that he deserved to get fired from the Cavs. I didn't think he deserved to get fired from the Sacramento Kings. I thought that was a disgusting, move. And I just think that a lot of coaches, there's no protection for the coaches. They need an HR department. They need to be able to dispute these terminations. They need to be able to sue for wrongful termination, but they don't do that because why? They know that they're just going to turn around and get another NBA coaching job. And that's a lot more lucrative than complaining. So here is what Rob Parker had to say about the Knicks getting Mike Brown instead of Larry Brown.
A coach after all this time, and that coach would be none other than Mike Brown. He is now the head coach for the Knicks, and this is coming after some weeks of trying to find one, which was interesting when they let Tibbs go. Who would it be? There were some bigger names out there you thought that would be in consideration that weren't, and then we know, Rob, also that they had a list of a handful of people that some never even were able to get interviews. Some were able to get.
Well, they already
interviews.
had jobs. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm a team, like you're looking to talk to. No, he's under contract.
You can't be calling him. Hey, hello, Rockets. Is Ime available?
Right.
What?
Hey, Jason Kidd. I know you got a new contract with the
and a number one draft pick coming up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so they had a few. Quinn Snyder would be another one. Taylor Jenkins. A handful of people who had some. They did have some meetings and took some interviews, but at the end of the day, Mike Brown got the opportunity. So there you have it. They got their guy that they believe will lead them to the future. What say you?
Okay. If I'm a New York Knicks fan today, I am melancholy. I am a Debbie Downer. I am distraught because Mike Brown really. The Knicks, Mike Brown's been around. What is this, his fifth start? It's going to be like his fifth team, I should say. I know he did the Cavs twice, but this will be like his fifth time being a head coach. And very seldom, Kelvin Washington, does a coach win a championship after making that many stops, okay? It just normally doesn't happen that way. I can think of one guy it's happened to, and that's about it off the top of my head, who made numerous stops and won later on in his career. So the Knicks wanted Larry Brown, but I think they got closer to Charlie Brown by hiring Mike Brown. I mean, Larry Brown did it. Larry Brown won the Pistons with the championship with the Pistons later after being with a lot of teams. But he ain't Larry Brown. Larry Brown also won a championship in college. Yeah. Larry Brown's the only coach who won in the NBA and in college basketball. So you're talking about a select group. Mike Brown hasn't won anything. Zero. Zip. Nada. They thought they had something going in Sacramento, couldn't win the big game, right? There were a couple times where you thought the Kings are going to advance. They're going to beat the Warriors and move on.
Right.
No way, no how. I don't know how you get excited. To me, it feels like the Knicks went to kick the football and they got it pulled from them. They missed it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm all for getting rid of Tibbs. I told you that. That after they lost the first two games in the Eastern Conference Finals at home, including that debacle in game 1, 14 points with 2:38 to go, I have no issue with him being fired. But to hire another guy who's been around for a while, had these teams, never really has won anything, coached, in Cleveland and coached for the Lakers and all that. When the Lakers, he got fired in second year right after 5 or 6 games. You remember that? Disaster. Yep. So my point is, if you're Knick Nation or whatever you want to call themselves, Knick Faithful or whatever, my God, is that all they came away with? Mike Brown? I'm sorry. I'm not with it.
Look, if they're Knick Faithful, they out here about to be Nick looking at other things right now. Nick cheating. They ain't about to be faithful right now, Rob. This is a couple of things. So you touched on something I want to go back to. I'm not going to act like Tom Thibodeau was Phil Jackson. I said that in real time. My thing was, all right, then if you have to have, in my opinion, a plan, if we're letting go a guy who's had the most success there in 22 years, he has now surpassed Pat Riley for the most wins, 4th most wins in Knick history. He had 11 playoff wins. He had 4 appearances in 5 seasons. So you had a guy who was creating something who had gotten you all the way to a game and a half away from the finals. So to me, okay, you're letting go to get. And this was my concern. Was my issue. And they went from, going to New York, going to see some huge Broadway plays to going to see a community center play now. You got Mike Brown, who's some of the highlights on his career. He got Coach of the Year in 2009. pretty easy to get a coach of the year or at least be a candidate when you got that era of LeBron James, right? Then you go to the Warriors for a few when Steve Kerr was going through some things. You coach there for a little bit, so you get some wins with them. But after that, to me, it's been underachieving. You underachieved with the Lakers. You had that same team that came back from an NBA Finals appearance, NBA championship, and you underachieved with them. Then the next year, as you mentioned, you only coached 5 games. You underachieved in Sacramento with some really good 2 All-NBA guys and Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox and some other players, quality players as well. When they got around, what was it, the 2 seed? You lost in the playoffs. So to me, you wouldn't got a guy that's one of those, well, he'll always get a good job. Everybody seems to like him, seems to be a nice guy. And I'm not even saying he's not a solid coach. There's 30 jobs. Somebody has to have a job. But for a Knicks team that had a chance to get back in the Eastern Conference and finals and maybe get to the finals because the East is wide open, this to me did not wow me. This did not move the needle. And if I, as you mentioned, as a Knicks fan, I would be like, wait, what? And I would actually be upset. And this goes back to James Dolan mentioning we just do weird things himself. Sometimes we overreact. Sometimes we chase the shiny thing. And to me, he did it again by overreacting, chasing the shiny thing, and getting rid of somebody who, again, fine. Then you have to have a better plan, a contingency plan. And I didn't see that. And this is why the Knicks be nicking. And ruining situations.
The one thing I hear you, I'm going to disagree, though. I'm sorry with the Tibbs. You say he got wins. Pat Riley took the Knicks to the finals. Like
he did.
This, so he can have more wins than Pat Riley and all this other stuff.
But Robbie was on his way.
But after I'm just saying, I don't have any issue. Once they lost that series, and I'm just saying, they all had expectations after they beat the Celtics that they were going to the finals. And then you lose game.
Period. When the Knicks beat the Celtics, the assumption was they were going to the finals. They should have been in the finals. So for them to lose to the Pacers was a disgrace. As a Knicks fan, I was ashamed. But I'm not ashamed of the Mike Brown hiring. Am I excited? Am I wowed? Am I floored? No. But anything short of Jay Wright wouldn't have excited me. I'm going to be very honest with you. You have a bunch of Villanova Knicks guys on the team. You would think you'd want to try to get Jay Wright out of retirement, try to get a guy like Stan Van Gundy, guys like that. Mike Brown, it never really occurred to me. Am I grateful that they hired a black coach? I think that that's special, right? I think that that's great. I think Mike Brown deserves to have a job. So I think he deserves a job in the league. I don't know that he deserves a Knicks head coach position. I'm going to be very honest with you. I don't think the Knicks are going to win a title with Mike Brown. Can they make it to the finals? Perhaps. But probably one of the most interesting things of this whole thing with Mike Brown is that they fired Rick Brunson. Rick Brunson was fired. And so, the report is that he's going to have a reduced role. He's not just going to be completely out of the team. I mean, Jalen Brunson is his son. He's the star on that team. He's the heartbeat of the team. But I said this before on Sports T. The players, there was a general consensus that Rick Brunson had a little bit too much power. It was a conflict of interest. Yes, he was, the associate head coach, but at the end of the day, he was having influence and he was part of decision-making that he really shouldn't have been. And so I think the firing, it's a signal that, they're willing to invest in Mike Brown and what he wants, that, his coaching team is going to be there. And Mike Brown he's going to be in charge. He's going to take the lead. He's not going to be allowing for Rick Brunson to tell him what to do or to be in some sort of power struggle with him. He's just not going to do it. So that part is really interesting to me. So Stephen A. Smith also chimed in on this. So here's what he had to say about Mike Brown.
They're going to draft pick.
Yeah, I think LeBron also.
Oh, it wasn't that one. Hold on.
If you are.
No.
Well, I respect the hell out of Mike Brown. I will honestly tell you it lacks sizzle, but certainly not credentials. I mean, he's a 4-time champion as an assistant coach. He achieved those rings by working under 2 of the greatest coaches the game has ever seen in Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr. On top of all of that, he's a 2-time coach of the year, 2009 in Cleveland and obviously a couple of years back in Sacramento. He's coached the team to an NBA Finals, which is what he did with the Cleveland Cavaliers. And then when you combine all of that with the fact that he's won 60% of his games and he guided the Sacramento Kings to their first playoff berth in 16 years after a 16-year absence, which was an NBA record at the time, you can't sit up there and question the credentials of this hire. Mike Brown is qualified as a head coach in the NBA circles. He deserves this opportunity. It's just that obviously when you just came within 2 games of an NBA NBA Finals and you decide to let go of your coach that is Tom Thibodeau, you're expecting a bigger name. But there's nobody this way, meaning me, that's going to question the credentials of Mike Brown and the fact that he's worthy and deserving of this opportunity.
And you laid it all out right there. The credentials, the pedigree, with all the injuries and uncertainty in the East next year. What are your expectations for this New York Knicks team?
Well, I expect them to be right back where we last saw them, which was in the Eastern Conference Finals, because the Boston Celtics don't have Jason Tatum. The Milwaukee Bucks don't have Damian Lillard to pair with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Even though Orlando just picked up Desmond Bane, you still expect the Knicks to be right there with them. The Cleveland Cavaliers had an exceptional season. Can't get much better than the season they had during the regular season, and yet we saw how they bowed out in the postseason. And so when you take all of those things into consideration and you're looking at the fact that the New York Knicks' top 7 players remain on their roster, you're talking about Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Michael McBride, obviously Josh Hart, the Energizer Bunny himself. They haven't gone anywhere, so why should we expect less from the New York Knicks? We should expect at least the same.
And there's been a lot of talk about the similarities and differences between Mike Brown and Tom Thibodeau. How do you think Mike Brown's coaching style fits with this Knicks roster?
Well, I definitely think that he's a bit calmer and less intense than Tom Thibodeau. And by the way, he also has better credentials. Even though Tom Thibodeau is a champion as an assistant coach, well, Mike Brown's a 4-time champion. But Tom Thibodeau never took a team to the finals as a head coach. Mike Brown did, although he had LeBron James at his disposal instead of Jalen Brunson. So we get the fact that they're comparable coaches. And Mike Brown, from a personality standpoint, I personally love Tibbs. I think that he's an approachable person, an exceptional coach, et cetera, but clearly very intense as we see him on the sidelines, where Mike Brown may come across as a bit more relaxed, not as panicky as Tom Thibodeau in terms of having a winning record, winning basketball games, and still feeling compelled to have your starters out there late in games because Lord help us, you might be able to come back from a 20-point lead with 60 seconds left. That's the kind of stuff that Tom Thibodeau is known. I'm being facetious to some degree, but that's just to explain his intensity. Mike Brown is a little less intense as a personality, but very much intense as a coach. Certainly intense enough to be committed to getting the job done, and obviously his record, his credentials as a head coach in this league are not to be questioned. Kobe Bryant may have had questions when he was alive, God rest his soul, from time to time. Or LeBron James may have had questions when Mike Brown was coaching them, relatively young in his career before he arrived in Golden State and helped Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors capture 3 championships, or at least before with LeBron James instead of Kobe. In the end, he's proven himself as a head coach in this game, and the New York Knicks, we can't look at them and say they don't have a quality head coach. That would be a misnomer. That would be a flat-out lie. That is not the case for Mike Brown. The man can coach, and he's proven it, and he deserves this opportunity.
And look, we saw it last season, the Knicks getting to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. What needs to be different this upcoming season in order for them to get over the hump with Mike Brown?
Well, I think they need to exercise their depth. That's why I'm glad to see them about to sign Jordan Clarkson and this guy Gershon. It's really good to get to see them have 2 additional guys that you can come off the bench and throw out there, because the starters were worn down, and that's one of the things. I said it many times. I'll say it again. The greatest line of the NBA season came from TNT's very own Kenny the Jet Smith when he said Tom Thibodeau would have a problem playing 9 guys in a baseball game. That's what he said. And we all know you need 9 guys on the field in baseball. Tom Thibodeau would have a problem with that. That's not Mike Brown. Mike Brown is going to use his depth if the opportunity is presented to him to do so. He's not going to have to be pushed into doing that. He's the kind of individual that he recognizes the importance of depth, and that's something that he'll utilize, particularly during the regular season, going into the playoffs and stuff like that. So I think that's the difference in their personalities. But in the end, the Knicks have to exercise that depth, and they have to have an additional big that you can put at the 5, so you're not asking Karl Anthony Towns to do that. He's a shooter. He's a big who shoots the basketball from the perimeter, preferably from 3-point range. That's what you want from Karl Anthony Towns. That's what you need from Karl Anthony Towns. You need to make sure that you got another big so he doesn't have to play the 5.
Stephen A. Smith, I think that he nailed it. I'll be honest with you. Again, Mike Brown, he's a qualified NBA head coach. Again, the trade lacks sizzle. Okay. It's not some shiny new head coach. It's not somebody who's a podcaster popping shit all day. Like JJ Redface. It's not someone who's already won a championship. So everything with Mike Brown is like, okay, like, what is he going to do? What is he going to be able to do for the Knicks? He's proven that he belongs and that he's qualified, but is he going to get them to the finals? Because anything short of an NBA finals trip is not going to be accepted, right? So New York fans are going to be asking, why did you fire Tibbs if we can't get to the finals with Mike Brown? So that's the bar. Mike Brown's got to get to the finals, or at the very least keep New York where they were, which is the Eastern Conference Finals. And, but the goal really is to get to the finals and to win a title. So, Stephen A. Smith thinks that Mike Brown is qualified enough to do that. And Rob Parker and Kelvin Washington think that he's Charlie Brown. So that was really funny. But it's interesting to me just like where we're at, with the Knicks. To me, the Knicks have moved the needle the most. But one of the most shocking things I think that happened during the NBA offseason was Damian Lillard getting waived. So he was waived. He's only 34 years old. He was waived. And, basically everybody's trying to figure out where is Dame going to go. So he was waived for the Bucks. He didn't want to play there anyway. It's a well known that he always wanted to go to Miami. He wanted a warm climate. He wanted Miami, and I don't blame him. I'd want Miami too. He wanted to play with his best friend, Bam Adebayo. He wanted to make that happen. It didn't happen. They sent him to Milwaukee. They shipped him off to the Bucks, and he played like poop. He couldn't get into it. His heart, his mind, his spirit, he didn't have the passion for it. He looked like he didn't want to be there. Apparently, maybe he was going through some personal things. Maybe I think he was headed for a divorce or something like that. So, personal things I think got in the way of his performance this season. And I don't think that he's the player that a lot of us said that he was. I'll be honest. He was in Portland. He was a one-man band there. And when you're a one-man band, you shine different. But next to a guy like Giannis, who's not very skilled, who doesn't play in a very complicated offense or elevated offense, you might look not so good. You might look bad. And so to me, what Damian Lillard is known for is his clutch shot making. But I don't really know that he was all that clutch either. So I'm fine with him getting waived, but it was definitely shocking to the sports world. Nobody was expecting that. And, is getting Miles Turner out of this situation, is that going to be enough for Giannis and the Bucks? As soon as we went into the NBA offseason, there was all this chatter about Giannis leaving. Is Giannis going to leave the Bucks? Does he want to remain loyal to them? There's a whole lot of debate happening surrounding that. I think Giannis should stay with the Bucks even if he never wins another title. To me, when you're at work, here's the thing. My relationships at work are grounded in trust, loyalty, and respect. And to me, the Bucks have respected Giannis. Every request that he's come up with, they've bent over backwards to try to make it happen. I think that the Bucks getting Damian Lillard is Giannis's fault for putting pressure on the organization to make a move and get rid of Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton and all these other pieces that they had. And I get it. Chris Middleton he's done, so that trade makes sense, but I didn't know that it made sense to trade Drew Holiday. They wanted to try to solve for more scoring to take some of that scoring load off of Giannis, but it didn't work. Damian Lillard played like a bum. Honestly, he was awful this season and the season prior to that. And, Giannis calling him out and saying, hey, you don't want to compete? Get the fuck out of here. I thought that was great. So I like Giannis as the captain of the Milwaukee Bucks. I want him to stay there. I want him to finish his career there. They've done everything that they could for him. They continue to make more moves. They instantly went out and got Miles Turner. They just poached him from the Indiana Pacers, offering him more money than the Pacers were going to offer. And I believe it was Get Up. I know that Windhorse and maybe even Bontemps weighed in on in this whole situation. And I want to play that for you guys and we'll react together.
If I'm an Indiana Pacer right now, I'm absolutely disgusted. I am sick to my stomach. If I'm Tyrese Halliburton, I am breaking things right now. If I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm furious. It's just what's happened because they were unwilling to spend a little bit of luxury tax money to hold this team in place for a year when Halliburton came back, to go to a team that they hate. They hate the Bucks.
Bontemps, which team did this move impact more, the Pacers or the Bucks?
I would say the Pacers, Evan, for all the reasons Brian just laid out. Throughout the playoffs, the Indiana Pacers kept signaling to people that they were going to pay the luxury tax. They were willing to pay the luxury tax to keep this team together. They had not paid the luxury tax in 20 years. There was plenty of skepticism across the NBA as to whether they were actually going to be willing to do that. and keep this group together going forward. And they showed yesterday when push came to shove, they were not. This contract that Miles Turner got from the Bucks, it was a nice deal for him, but it is not way outside the bounds. They didn't give him a max deal. They didn't give him a $40 million deal. This is right in line with what he should get in comparison to the market. And by not giving him this deal, the Pacers have completely handicapped themselves going forward. Look, fans are probably sitting at home saying, why is everybody making such a big deal about Miles Turner? He hasn't made an all-star team, averaged 15 points a game last year. The reason why is because he has a very specific skill set that few players in the league have. He's a rim-protecting center. He and Brook Lopez, the guy who replaced in Milwaukee, two of the most contested shot players at the center position in the NBA. He also is an excellent three-point shooter. And that combination of floor spacing on offense and rim protection on defense, that is something every team is looking for in a big. It is especially critical to have next to Giannis Antetokounmpo, which is why the Bucks went and got him. It's also something that's critical for Pascal Siakam, another guy who likes to play in the paint, and it's why he and Miles Turner have been such a perfect combination the past couple of seasons. Now, yes, Tyrese Haliburton is out this season. When he comes back after this year, when he gets back for the 26-27 season, the Pacers are going to have to find another version of Miles Turner. There are very few of them around the league, and as a result, this Pacer team that just had this incredible run, just got back to the NBA Finals for the first time in a quarter century, between this and the Haliburton injury in the last 10 days, they've went from a team that I thought was going to be back in the finals next year to one that looks like it's farther away from getting back there than ever.
So I'm going to give the Pacers a little bit of a benefit of the doubt here, because I think that part of what you said is true. I think that they feel like if you give us a year, we can find a Miles Turner replacement, a 3-and-D guy. They probably also feel that some of what Miles Turner has been doing has been because of Haliburton and what he provides offensively. So maybe they feel like they can replace him. And also, let's not forget, they made a shrewd move during the finals. They got their first-round pick back, which could be a lottery pick. Somehow the Pelicans end up as a loser in this trade too, which is what they've been doing all offseason. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. For me, this is all about the Milwaukee Bucks. This move that the Milwaukee Bucks have done has changed their franchise for the next half a decade. They're tied to this Dame Lillard contract, and they're keeping Giannis. They have bought into the keeping of Giannis part of their strategy, which I'm not totally sold on, because I think that what's best for them is probably parting ways. This actually reminds me of a few years ago when the Clippers made the big trade for Paul George to the Thunder, right? 5 first rounds, 2 swaps, a heavy price. Wasn't, financial as much as picks, but what they were doing, they said, we're not just getting Paul George, we're doing this for Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, right?
So I think that they made some good points. Obviously, if you're on the Pacers team, the way that the Pacers are just allowing their title run team to just get broken up all because Haliburton caught that injury, it's awful, So I feel sadness for the Pacers, just the way that their team is busting up, right? But the Bucks, I think that this was a great move for them. Miles Turner and Giannis, that's a great duo on the floor. I think that they can easily have some other pieces on the floor really take over the point guard duties. So I'm here for it. I'm fine with that. And I'm curious to see what Giannis is going to be able to do in an Eastern Conference that is not really like Cleveland Cavaliers. They've proven themselves to be unserious, right? They were not serious contenders. So it's kind of like nobody's going to take them seriously next year either. And I'm sure they're going to play like it. I'm sure that their confidence is going to be, not where it should be, because they played like shit and got bounced out of the first round with like the best record in the league. So, that to me is really just super interesting. But, I'm curious to see what the Knicks and the Bucks are going to do. To me, these are the teams that have moved the needle the most besides the Houston Rockets. So in the Western Conference, it's the Houston Rockets for sure. They moved the needle. They have made themselves an instant contender with Kevin Durant. And, we're going to see one of the greatest scorers in NBA history ball out in Houston. He's going to have Texas jumping all over the place, super excited, ready to win a title. And I think the Houston Rockets have not won since 1995. So, this is an opportunity for them to win another title, for Kevin Durant to, towards the end of his career, capture another ring as well. So the Knicks, to me, have the Knicks and the Bucks on the East Coast. They have moved the needle the most. In my opinion, the Knicks added some depth with Jordan Clarkson. The Bucks added another big who is not just serviceable, but he's a starting big, someone that can take the scoring load off of Giannis. He can make 3-pointers. He can play in the post. He's got an inside and out game. And I think that that's really going to be complimentary of Giannis. And I think that the Bucks, next season could be just, an incredible team to watch. And I'm really looking forward to it, as well as what the Knicks have added. And I'm curious to see how the firing of Rick Brunson, how that helps them, because I think that only helps the morale, because, hey, we don't have this loud voice in here who, has their son on the team. And, we don't have someone that's in here that gets to, to pull certain things that they otherwise wouldn't be able to do as an assistant head coach on another team. So I actually like that. I don't think that he belongs as the head coach of his assistant head coach to Jalen Brunson. That's his son. To me, that's a conflict of interest. Those things need to be kept separate. I mean, if they want to give him a role in the organization, I'm not mad at it. And I trust Rick Brunson more than I trust Mike Brown. So, this is going to be a really interesting dynamic when Rick fades to the background and he's in some sort of other role. Maybe he goes into an executive role and they're just not announcing it yet. Who knows? Who knows what he's interviewing for and how he plans to stay acclimated with the team. So, yeah, that's my take. Knicks and the Bucks have moved the needle the most outside of the Houston Rockets. So I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. I know that we do have some super chats to read, so I want to go ahead and do that. Looks like another super chat from Wufio. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Only time LeBron plays D is against Diddy. He likes him squirmy. Sheesh, you are diabolical. And the next super chat is another $5 one from Wufio. If Skip does another fan debate, Dom should be his backup. Man, oh man, I would love to. His shows are so hilarious. There's some things that are a little bit untenable for me about Skip Bayless, but some of his takes are just hilarious, hilariously good, and he's catchy and very entertaining. But guys, we talked a lot about the NBA offseason, and I would be remiss if I didn't talk about one of the biggest stories in the sports world and sports media right now. And that's the Malik Beasley betting scandal. It's just been reported all over the news that, there's a federal investigation going on surrounding, his basically gambling in the NBA, and there's just so many different details about it. I have some sound from the 520 podcast. I have some sound from the Dan Patrick show and some sound from Road Tripping, because I want you guys to hear how differently the media is talking about the betting scandal. And, we're going to listen and we're going to react together. But here is the 520 podcast just sort of getting into this betting scandal, and here's their thoughts on it.
Malik Beasley.
This nigga tweaking.
Malik Beasley.
Terrible timing. Malik Porter. He been tapping in with Mook Discord.
Mook Discord got
Shop with me, bro.
Well, apparently he needs to shop smarter than that, man. My boy is under investigation, unfortunately, man, for sports betting reasons, man. He was rumored to sign a 3-year, $42 million extension with the Detroit Pistons, but obviously that is on hold right now. Prayers up for Malik Beasley, man. We don't know the details yet. Prayers up for my boy, man, because we saw what happened to Jonte Porter.
Man,
boy.
fuck all that. Why are you betting like this in the NBA?
What's
bro?
the point, bro? Yeah. 42 million.
I'm not sending up no prayer for that shit.
Allegedly, we got to see what's going on first. There's been a charge that just linked
To
into it.
even be
In the
investigated for betting But how you they in the NBA. he gambling though?
Well, like even when I was an employee, you know what I'm saying? If you're in the league at all, top to bottom, they run your name through a search engine system to see just about every week, every month to make sure that you're not involved in nothing. So if you got a phone number, an email, any of the above, bro, they're pulling up and seeing what's happening with it.
So you think his name got flagged on something?
I believe so.
That nigga was betting on the Timberwolves. I know that. I look at his ass. I can tell nigga that was betting on the Timberwolves.
They said, hey, I need 7 threes for you to be a sniper, brother. They said, yep, that's the one.
You making that much money and just want to gamble for no reason.
I hope it's fake bees, but goddamn,
It really is some people who are just addicted to gambling though.
Yeah,
but I ain't gonna lie. He probably thought this is me. He probably thought his time was gonna be cut short in the league. Like, nah, that was this year. He knew what was going on. No, this was from last year. Oh, it wasn't this season. Nah, it was 2023, 2024,
yeah,
right?
That's looking last year and a half.
Some old shit. Yeah, nigga, we got reports.
That's how it happened, bro.
So Terry Rozier made it through. I think he'll make it through. I hope he make it through because $42 million to leave on the table is tough.
Most definitely, man. He had a hell of a year for sure. And obviously, man, look, Malik Beasley already beat some allegations. My boy, you know what I'm saying, who put the band on like he was KCP. So hopefully all is well, man. But what's going on, man? Yeah, it's from March 2023. I listen, man, this is crazy. Don't jeopardize your bread, bro. Ain't no parlay worth the chicken.
Yeah, I hope he beat it, but goddamn, bro.
Because
you out the way.
I'm imagining he probably was already making $3 to $5 million a year at that moment. Like it ain't worth it. The extra $70,000 you was gonna get from that year. It didn't matter, bro. I'm betting. Like, what are we doing?
And you know what I love about our community and our support base, man? They immediately said, damn, Malik Beasley tapped in with B-Hen. He put the PJ Tucker parlay in. That's what got him out of here.
Just hit the roulette table, bro. leave your job alone.
Yeah.
Roulette table.
Go to Vegas.
Delete the apps. All NBA players, bro, get off the apps, bro.
Yeah.
You got FanDuel in the NBA. You got
Yeah, y'all tripping, bro. Y'all tripping.
You gotta have somebody, your family, your home, somebody, bro. Let them use the burner account.
I'm trying to see how it's worth it. Like
It's never
not
worth it,
bro.
Like Jonte Porter was making over $1 million.
Are you getting,
bro?
Nothing,
$42 million. What's
right?
What's wrong,
bro? That
And so my reaction to what they're saying is really just that, like, gambling, it can be, oftentimes it's an addiction. So it's not about how much money you make. It's you're addicted to the chase. You're addicted to winning. You could be addicted to just, beating somebody. You could just be addicted to betting and guessing and being right. I'm sure there's a lot of psychology behind gambling, why people do it. I was kind of raised to understand that gambling was not good. It's for degenerates. And, it is shameful that NBA players resort to gambling, but you just never know what they're going through. And oftentimes the more money you make is the more money you spend, or the more bills that you have, the more expensive that you have. And so, these players that make $1 million, $5 million, depending on what markets they're in, they don't see a lot of it because the taxes, agent fees, the this, the that. I think it was even Jeff Teague who talked about that, the money is not always what you think it is. And, I just think it's really important not to judge people. So I just come from a place of, hey, right now he's under this federal investigation. We're going to see what happens. And just, hopefully he didn't do what he was accused of. Hopefully there's an out for him. It's really sad when NBA players get caught up in these kinds of things, and, where there's smoke, there's usually fire. So he might not have done exactly this, but he did something. And so, he owed a lot of people a lot of money. Dan Patrick goes into that. He talks about this. And, I want you to hear how he talks about this betting scandal. It's just so different. You go, you take a look at content creation and the way I might cover something versus the way Ticket might cover it, or Mel might cover it. It's also different, right? And so, 520 podcast, they're of the mindset like, hey, yeah, I hope he beats it, but I'm not praying for that. Like, you messed up. If you did this, if you're in this position, you did something surrounding this, and that was really dumb, and it just wasn't really worth it. And there's probably so many different times where Beasley could have stopped before this got out of hand. But, when you owe somebody money, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, all of those things, it's a fast life. When you're spending money fast, when you're making money fast and blowing it even faster than you can get it, it creates financial problems. And, that's what it sounds like that Malik Beasley was going through. And here's what Dan Patrick had to say.
By the way, the Pistons have added Duncan Robinson. Now you say, okay, well, they added him because Malik Beasley has some financial problems. He's got some legal issues. He's got a federal investigation. So they quickly pivoted. They were going to pay, Detroit was going to pay Malik Beasley 3 years, $42 million. And all of a sudden they go, we need somebody who can shoot threes, who doesn't have a gambling problem, allegedly have a gambling problem. Duncan Robinson, come on, we'll take you. And Malik Beasley's got some real financial. I mean, now you realize if you get into a position, Detroit News lays this out, got into, financial disaster, loans, bad investments, and then all of a sudden, did he turn to gambling, fixing a game, prop bets? That's what appears happen. There's a whole lot of smoke here. And if there is any semblance of fire, boy, this is where you.
So Dan Patrick, he was pretty much, to me, the media is of the mindset that he did it, that he's guilty. And Dan Patrick pretty much is saying like, hey, allegedly. But, to him, it seems as though this is an open and shut case and there's so much evidence surrounding it and that just keeps coming out in the public, and they're releasing this information publicly on purpose. The NBA is making sure that it gets out. They want somebody likely to go down for this, right? Because NBA is not going to distance themselves from betting. That's not going to happen, right? And so instead of blaming themselves for allowing this to happen, for allowing even the opportunity, they're going to shift that blame to the player. They're going to push out stories about Malik Beasley so that this is believable and even more so believable. And they can't just keep this private, even though the feds are investigating this. This is a federal investigation. They're not just going to let that play out. They're going to keep pushing out stories. They're going to make him look bad. They want to be distanced from this negativity, and they want it all focused on him. And so, like, do you guys think that gambling is what's wrong with the NBA today? I'm sure that there's so many things, but I think that gambling is something that definitely hurts the integrity of the sport, for sure. And so here is what Kendrick Perkins and Channing Frye and Richard Jefferson had to say on the Road Tripping podcast. I thought it was really interesting. So, I want you guys to hear it as well.
It is the hottest ticket in town, and that's saying something.
Worse than the Porter situation. Like, literally, it's worse than that. I'm going to tell you, real talk, Detroit, who, by the way, just signed Duncan Robinson, had a $42 million deal on the table for Malik Beasley.
They released the information for a reason. But the timing of the release is for a reason. The government wants to get as much attention as possible. And if you were doing wrong,
this is FBI. This isn't local. This is FBI.
When I say government,
yeah, this is under federal investigation.
Oh, listen, brother. Look, I know one thing for certain, two things for sure. If it's local police, you got a 50-50 chance.
Local police don't handle it.
I'm just gonna go and say, good luck to you, brother.
The only thing that we reference in that space is if you're going to do those things, you got to be careful with how you maneuver, who you talk to. And when I say be careful, you can be in a fantasy football league. You can do those things. You want to bet $100. The minute you start talking about basketball and apps and all that, you are cooked. You deserve to go to jail. You deserve to go to jail. You deserve to have all of your contract taken, like all of those things. That's just what I'm going to say. That's my opinion.
It's not worth it. To everyone listening, it's not worth it. It is not worth it, especially for these young guys in the league. Just don't do it. Guys, you're making enough money. You're living a dream. It just isn't. It cannot compute in your brain to even be an option.
Do you guys think the NBA will ever be forced to distance itself from betting?
Never. No.
And the problem
all
is
the sports. Football players got in trouble with it.
The problem is this. My grandmother, who's turning 90 in a few weeks, she has
birthday.
90. She has Alzheimer's, and she might place a bet. The world is betting. The world is betting. Do you know how many people, how many partners, homies of mine that I went to school with or just friends always texting me on the regular, and they're like, hey, Perk, would you take this tonight? And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know, bro. Like, but so many people, the world is betting. But I will say this. They will make an example out of you. The NBA will go ask Porter, right? And I hope Malik Beasley doesn't get found guilty, but usually when reports come out like this and they form an investigation.
He's innocent until proven guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty. You was like, but normally you were about to imply guilt, which again,
I wasn't about to imply guilt.
You just said normally when reports come out like this, I mean, that's not the implication of guilt.
No. Listen, I wish him well, but I'm just telling you, I wish him well. I'm just telling you, he better hope and pray, because the way Adam Silver, he's going to tell them, the FBI, to give him the book.
Go get him.
I'm telling you straight up. So that's all I'm saying.
You guys, obviously, the other flip side of all of this, you guys have seen a lot of crazy, fun gambling moments, right? Like on the planes and stuff like that. What's the craziest bet you guys have seen made by a teammate or a player?
I don't care about the craziest bet, but it's just really interesting to me. You have Kendrick Perkins ready to, basically say that Malik Beasley did it. Richard Jefferson is trying to, stop him allegedly. Hey, he's guilty. He's innocent until proven guilty, and then Channing Frye is just like, he's basically fried because it's a Fed case. What I didn't like about this, about the way that they covered this, is that they came into the discussion uninformed. So Channing Frye, he always speaks so eloquently, and I usually don't agree with any of his takes. Usually he's just a LeBron James jockstrap sniffer, but he was just so uninformed. And I just, when you're talking about a legal case, when you're talking about, like, this is someone's life, they're at risk for going to jail. Their freedom is at risk for being taken, and you don't even know that this is a federal case, and you're actually on screen talking about it. This is a federal investigation. That's what the news is reporting. Like, if you don't know enough about it, at least get on here and just report, like, say the report, say what's going on and react to that. You don't have to sit there, oh, this is a federal case. Like, how do you not know that? Where have you been? So, disappointed with them for that. Kendrick Perkins, and I am not the person that usually does this. I usually don't care, if someone's not using proper grammar. I'm not the grammar police or the spell check police. That's not who I am. But how many years has he been in the media now, and he still cannot speak properly? Worser? It's going to be worser? That's not even a word. Alzheimer's? Huh? Like, I just want him to clean up his language skills. He's worth millions of dollars. He's on ESPN. He's on all of the sports media shows on ESPN. Like, get him some speech training or something. This is just, it's criminal. But, I do agree with him that this is worse than what we saw with the insurance scam. Big Baby Davis, nobody gave a damn. He wasn't even active when he got caught. I don't think there were any active players in the NBA insurance scam. So, that was really, really unfortunate that went down that way. And just this whole situation with Malik Beasley is unfortunate, but it is what it is. If he did it, he's, going to be in trouble for it, and he's going to have to face that consequence. It just is what it is. I mean, you can't expect to do something like that and just get away with it. And what goes up must come down. So eventually, right? Eventually, this is going to be a problem.
Worse than
eventually, right? So, I think that this was a really interesting topic. Honestly, I've had so much fun in this room with you guys, and I just really appreciate everybody that's joined me tonight for the stream. I do want to open up the phone lines for you guys. I've been having so much fun. I know this has been a marathon show, and I want to, chat with you guys maybe for another 10 minutes or so. So what I'll do is I'll open the phone lines back up, and we'll take like maybe 2 or 3 calls. If you guys can do me a favor and, respect the time of others, and, and keep the calls as concise as you can, maybe a minute or 2. And then we'll move on to someone else that can also share, and we can hear their voice as well. So thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
T-Bird, you sound really good on the phone.
Hey, T-Bird, I'm so glad that I sound good on the phone. Talk to me nice. What do you think about tonight's show? We talked about a lot. So we had 4 topics, but there were subtopics. It was just so much content jam-packed. So, you can share wherever you'd like. So just start wherever you feel good.
I'm gonna just do what I do. I'm gonna make sure I don't get worser. Let me start off like I always do, Dom. Thanks for producing a great show. You've been on here for a long time. You still doing the thing. You cooked on all 4 of your topics. And it feels like you did a 5th topic. It looks like you did 2 things on the NBA offseason, but you cooked. But so I start like I normally do. Let me give my flowers to all the mods. The mods are absolutely doing great. The chat, they're fire. Everybody's engaging. And they're listening to every word that you say. Because when you say something, they just type real fast on there, and I just be cracking up. But shout out to all the mods and Spurs and my girl. It's okay that you was late. Better late than never. We understand you got off work. And there was another mod that was late too, but no, we appreciate everybody all the time. And thanks, Dom, for making that guy. I think his name was like Don J. Wan. Like, he was really engaging in the chat. I looked up his activity. He really deserved the mod. So I just wanted to thank you for giving him the mod.
He really did. I mean, I trust you when you tell me to make somebody a mod.
You there, Dom?
Yeah. No, I'm here. I trust you, T-Bert. So when you tell me to make somebody a mod, I'm here for it. You know.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm still reading the chat as I'm on the phone now. Spurs and my guy T. Hours, Spurs and love you right back. So put the topics up real quick. Maybe I'll just talk on one because you don't leave enough meat on the bone for me to call in and talk most of the time. If you want me to call in, you got to stop just destroying topics because what am I supposed to?
Let's see.
So, I think you had Paul Pierce one. I'll talk about the Paul Pierce one.
Wait,
Paul
but
Pierce,
do you agree that Bronny's still wearing his NBA costume from last season?
Just to be honest, I didn't see Bronny at all. I didn't look him up. I didn't YouTube him. I'm just so locked in on the W. The WNBA is just fire beyond fire beyond fire, and you actually see good defense. You see almost close to it's not D, but it's definitely early 2000s D. It's good to see basketball players playing basketball and playing defense as efficiently as they want to, equivalent to their offense. They try just as hard on defense that they do on offense. I'm actually loving it. So,
you're right. And I love the Valkyries. So I'm a Liberty fan, but the Valkyries here in the Bay Area, they're balling. They're playing really good basketball. They're winning. And there's no superstar on their team. They're just playing really great team basketball. The coach is excellent. So I'm really happy with what they're doing here.
I like all the teams because my team was from back in the day was Houston Comets. And now, they don't have a team anymore. I don't have any dog in any race. I just got 30 favorite players. So it's no matter what teams is playing each other, I just be rooting for both the teams. But I don't want to just go.
The truth is there's just so much talent in the WNBA. But so let's talk about Paul Pierce. Do you think that he is the greatest, purest scorer in all of NBA history? And if you don't believe that, do you think that he's a better scorer than LeBron James?
Here's my take on Paul Pierce. I said this to my cousin because he's in his 50s, so he's very knowledgeable. I said this to him 5 years ago. When you talk about all around player, I had Paul Pierce in my top 5 all around players. But all around players, I'm in my top 5. He actually made a good point. He actually said, I don't think he played this. He said, you name all the players that are the GOATs in the league. He was like, I can do something better than all of them. And it was really true.
I think you might have missed that. So I actually played
did that?
I played the video of Paul Pierce saying that. So he went through all the scores,
cool.
Michael Jordan, Bird, Kevin Durant, and he said what he could do better than them.
Oh, okay, good. So I actually Paul Pierce. He is one of the most complete offensive players. He a 3-point champ shooter, so obviously he won the 3-point contest. So he could shoot the 3. His mid range was nice. Pull up game was nice. Low post game, midi. Play without the ball, play with the ball. He could play above the rim, play below the rim. He had no flaws in his offensive bag at all. He moved at his own pace, and you could not stop him. You couldn't stop him because he was just quick enough to get by you and dunk on you. And if you were a super elite defender, odds are you didn't weigh enough. So he put all that heft on you. You know what I mean? Put you in a post. He killed guards. He just killed everyone. Him and Kobe went to war in those finals. So I don't have a problem with anything Paul Pierce says. Do I rank him number one? I don't know. I have to think about it, but he's up there in that GOAT conversation for all around greatest offensive player.
I'm here
by
for it.
far.
And I think at the very least, it makes us think, right? And it makes us think that like there's just so many great players for us to talk about that are title winners, you know, and the idea that the only two people to talk about is LeBron James and Michael Jordan, I just think that, I don't know, I think it's lazy. And, you know, I love that he's kind of shaking it up in the sports media world and giving us something else to think about, even though it's about himself.
Yeah, absolutely. But and I'm looking at other topics. So I didn't see Brown play this summer, and hopefully I don't see him play all this year.
Yeah.
So LeBron James, you cooked on that. I'm just so over that guy. Oh, you know what? I did see something that popped up on my timeline on my phone. That because I don't watch that Mind the whatever show he got with
I'm
Nash.
going to cover Mind the Game. So I don't want to talk about that because I'm going to cover it. So Mind the Game, we're going to get into that probably tomorrow. Like I want to keep.
Yeah, I don't even watch it.
I'm going to talk about it. So like, you know,
Oh, okay, okay, I got
about
you.
him and Kevin Durant part 2. So you'll see that. And
All right, bet.
there's
So I
a
won't.
lot of shady little things in there. So.
Okay, cool. So I won't even, go into that. All right, the NBA off season, like, yeah, I'm with you on that. And I don't have a dog in that race either, because my team was the Bulls in the '90s, and when they broke up, I just never had a team again. But I was seeing, and you talked about it, and I was reading the chat as you were talking about it. They were saying LeBron to the Knicks. There's no way. I'm just saying, just the system that the Knicks run, he would be forced to be a corner boy. That's not his strong point. He has to play with the ball. LeBron is absolutely awful off ball. So if LeBron did go to the Knicks, which he is not, right, they would have to change their whole offensive system and philosophy on offense and defense for a 40-whatever-year-old. So that's just the media spread narratives, but it's not going to happen.
Wow.
And go ahead.
No, media spreading narratives. It's just, that's never going to change. Right. So yeah, but thank you so
much. And I'll end it on that note, Dom, and just shout out to all the mods. Oh, let me say one more thing to the mods, to all my mods. I think y'all doing a great job. And if anyone criticizes y'all for blocking somebody or banning somebody, don't listen to them. Y'all are doing a great job. I agree 100% with the people that y'all ban. So y'all are doing a great job. Keep up the great work, and y'all representing Sports T's channel very, very well. Shout out to you too, Dom. All right, talk to you later, little sis.
Thank you so much, T-Bert. And guys, seriously, thank you for all the work that you're doing in the chat. Shout out to the moderators. Shout out to the members. Shout out to everybody joining the stream. Sports Tea is just about having a good time, having fun, right? So I want to bring everybody together so that we can talk about sports and have a good time while we do it. So nobody should be feeling poorly. Nobody should be feeling disrespected. Nobody should be, calling each other names. This is really a safe space to come in here, share your opinions. I do want everybody's voice to be heard. You don't always have to agree with me or with each other, but let's just be respectful, right? And respect everybody's differences. So, I really appreciate you guys, and, feel free to call in. I think I have time for probably about another 1 to 2 phone calls, especially if they're kept short. So, feel free. Oh, looks like we already have another caller. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Feel free. Oh, looks like we already have another caller.
If you can just do me a quick favor and mute your background for me.
Feel free.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
It's okay.
You could just do me a little favor and mute your background for me. Okay. Make me a little favor and mute your background for me.
Oops. Looks like I lost the caller. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. Hello? Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. Hi, Sabrina. How's it going,
How
girl?
are you?
I'm fantastic. Can you do me a favor and mute your background?
Yeah. I just did it.
Thank you so much. So, girl, where do you even want to start?
Please. It's so much to talk about. We ain't talking about Bronny.
Let me just ask you this one question. Did you enjoy the show tonight?
Yes, I did. I actually saw the whole show.
I'm so happy. Okay, so you just start where you want to start, and just you go right on ahead and cook, Sabrina.
Your information and your takes and showing what's his name? I loved it because I watched this show today too. We know the one that got what's his name again? They can't stand LeBron.
Skip Bayless.
Yeah. He
It was
cooked
really
LeBron.
Cook fest.
Cooked him. And I want to know with these LeBron maniacs, when has LeBron ever in his whole entire season dominated? Please tell me. I want somebody to call in and give me some information on it.
It's going to be.
He never has. That's why he wants to race 90. Jordan out of 10 of his MVPs, 8 of them he got in the 90s when he dominated the league in scoring. And they were back to back.
Tough. He got 10 straight scoring titles. Like, let's be for real. There were 2 seasons I think he didn't win the scoring title because he wasn't there. That's the only reason why. But over a decade, Michael Jordan dominated in scoring. He dominated in defense. He dominated on both ends of the floor.
He dominated the league in the 90s.
He just dominated the league. LeBron James has never dominated the league, and that's just
he's never in his entire career. The two MVPs.
You want to know what though, Sabrina? He did dominate. He dominated building super teams. He dominated jumping from team to team, right? And building
and firing
coaches and being the GM and all these things, right? That's what he's dominated in.
Well, I couldn't stand him from the moment he was on Cleveland when he told the organization. I put it in my chat. He told the organization to fire Mike Brown, telling them that he was going to re-sign with them, and then he did that nonsense.
Right.
That everybody forgot about that. LeBron maniacs act like they don't know this as being a fact.
They always forget how soon.
No, they don't forget. They know the truth. just like Trump's mega people. They know the truth. But he's a narcissist, and he's going out exactly the way he deserves. He's going out sad. He's not getting any farewell. Nobody's going to give a damn when he finally retires. It's only to say it's about damn time.
That's it.
There's nothing left to say. It's about damn time.
That's right.
What took you so long? The man is a bum. I agree with Skip Bayless.
LeBum.
I know this all along. His whole career had been manufactured from the time he got in the league. The 2 MVPs that he got and the 2 finals the 2 finals that the Miami won. Kevin Durant. Why is Kevin Durant the runner-up for those MVPs, the seasonal MVPs? I want to know when you take an exam in college or high school or otherwise. I want to know when is it that one student gets less questions to answer than the rest of the students? Because how can he be an MVP when he's playing less games? Of course, his average is going to be better. However, Kevin Durant's average was better, even though he played more games.
Oh, exactly. And so that's the same thing that he's
People don't understand the fact.
Yeah, I understand you 100%, Sabrina, because the same thing that he's doing with himself, cherry picking the games that he can cook in and score 30 plus, because that's what he did. He just picked games to play that he could score 30 plus in, right? And so he did this. He's doing the same thing with his son. Bronny, you're going to sit out this game. You're not going to cook in this game. Next game, you'll be able to. You'll be able to score some points and,
he
have a
got
decent
he
stat
got foot
line.
knee problems too, just like his father.
Yeah.
Even last year, the same nonsense.
For sure. But
Sitting out games, really?
Load managing a 20-year-old. Isn't that crazy? Thank you
I'm
so much,
happy
Sabrina.
that was the thing that I wanted so badly. Before he retired, somebody would buy the Lakers, and he wouldn't be able to go out the way he wants to with Jimmy Buss. He was running the team because he was a billionaire. He made the lady lose $8 million her own money getting Westbrook because he got more money than her. That's why he was the GM.
It's totally crazy. But I do want to thank you for calling in, Sabrina. You always cook. You always understand the assignment. So thank you so much. And yeah.
And tell T-Berg he needs to keep calling in. I always love him.
We all do. And I love him. That's the twin right there. So thank you so much, Sabrina. I really appreciate you. You just make me so happy when you call in. So you have a wonderful night. And hopefully I'll see you at the next live too. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, wow, guys. I've just had so much fun. It looks like we do have one more caller that I'm going to take. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Hello.
Hi. Who do I have on the line?
Oh, it's Keedrian Hardy. Like I be in the chats all the time.
Hi.
Yeah. No, I got in. I was in there earlier, but like for some reason my computer wouldn't let me mute it. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. So let me ask
So
you this.
I was there. I was watching you. I'm a bartender, so I was watching you at the bar for like. So I didn't see everything. So whatever. But like I said, well, Bronny shouldn't be in the league. We know that. So we ain't gonna talk about that. Paul Pierce is right and wrong at the same time. Because I mean, dude, you don't get the nickname like the truth, and nobody disputes it. Dude, you the truth for a reason. But I did watch you when you had Antoine Walker. And before KG and everybody got there, you was sitting on the corner and you didn't do nothing for a whole fourth quarter. And that's all I'm saying. Go back, just like Tracy McGrady. So we live in recorded history. We watch you.
Right.
But like you said, MJ, 10 seasons being the scoring champion. Right. How you gonna debate that? Like,
you can't.
Scores are scores. Win or lose, they score. But like I said, I'm not saying truth ain't like Paul Pierce won the scores. Like I said, he scored on all three levels. We good, do whatever. But like Paul Pierce is Paul Pierce, So that whatever. And LeBron, I don't know about LeBron. Like I was saying,
do you think that Paul Pierce is a better scorer than LeBron?
Definitely, because he takes the shots. All I'm saying is, and I had to prove my point with LeBron James, right? Early in LeBron's career, and this is what I told people, I don't care how, like you said, you talk about it all the time, how he don't want to take shots. Everybody talks about it. But like, dude, we watch LeBron take the same shots he don't take now. So what I mean by that is, the same 2-dribble pull-up that he get one-on-one when he's in the first few years in Cleveland, we saw him take those shots. The year he did the 25, what he did to Detroit, and we went, dude, that's the same year, dude. The dude had 5 game-winning dunks. Game-winning dunks. So you can't tell me you didn't know you can do certain stuff. Like, that's what I'm talking about LeBron. It's like, you're not going to tell me, and the thing about it, I get it, because we watched him in high school. We saw it. Like, he did pass the ball. He deferred a lot of stuff. And they always talk about the social media and all. Mike didn't have, like, Michael Jordan said, I couldn't deal with social media. He even said it. That's a whole different time, but like, at the same time, Michael Jordan didn't grow up in social media. Kobe grew up in our era, so he can adjust. LeBron was all the way in the era, So y'all do, and they don't even handle social media to a certain extent. Some people do, but some people don't. And then my thing about LeBron is like, when we saw him in his first year, everybody, like, I even said it. Like, LeBron James literally said, we watched LeBron James, like, he might be able to do it. Nobody was mad at him. People was rooting for him. We just wanted to see you do it. You ain't have to talk it, but like I said, what they say, the game is, so they always say the game is told, is not told. He's trying to sell the game. Because when you hear about Mike, Kobe, everybody else, they say the same thing. Ain't no flaws in their game.
I mean,
they do whatever.
I love
He
your
the paper
take.
goat.
Yeah. I mean, I love your comments. I think it's great. I mean, when you just take a look at, LeBron, you size him up to Michael Jordan, it's not a comparison. And, the delusional blind witnesses out there, they want to try to convince us that, one scoring title is better than 10. They're not going to be able to fool me. Math is math, right? So I really appreciate you calling in,
and that's what I'm saying.
I really appreciate you.
Like, they don't realize, like, I mean, I even told people, like, how America works is, like, you can't tell us something. Like, you can lie to a lot of people, but you ain't finna tell us what's in front of our faces. And you had all the tools, you didn't use it. And it's just like Tracy McGrady. When you say Tracy McGrady wasn't more talented than Kobe Bryant, hell, Kobe knew Tracy McGrady was more talented. He'd been in multiple magazines in sports. I used to read him growing up when I played pro ball or growing up. We all watched him. He was like, dude, it's like if he had the same work ethic, he'd be the best player in the league. Granted, injury remorse. That's why I feel like Tracy McGrady. But at the same time, I don't think Tracy McGrady was trying to fight Kobe. I think he was like when they talked. When Tracy McGrady was talking, he was trying to.
Yeah, well, Tracy
I guess salvage his legacy because he was hurt. Like, I get it.
For sure. I think Tracy McGrady was hurt, and I just, again, and I said this when I covered that topic, like my last live or so, I said, not only was Tracy McGrady hurt, but he clearly felt that he left something on the table, right? So he left a title on the table at the very minimum, and he doesn't realize that his situation doesn't even represent the whole. It doesn't represent the bigger
That's
picture.
all I was saying. He had opportunity.
He did have an opportunity, and it's like how soon we forget. We're having selective amnesia over here. So, Kedrian, I really appreciate you calling in. Thank you so much for your time, and please call in.
No, I appreciate it. No, I came in. I just happened to be off, and I was like, man, let me call in because I was like, dude,
I'm really happy that you did, and I'm
always
really happy
like
that you were able to.
And shout out to all the mods, though. Yeah, all the mods have always been great on this channel. So if people, like I said, like old boy said, they giving y'all shit, man. No, y'all doing good. I've seen a lot of channels, and I work in tech too, so it's like, no, it's bad at times, but y'all doing an amazing job, mods. Yep.
Really glad to hear you're having fun. Thank you so much, Kedrian, for your phone call, and I hope to see you on the next live.
I appreciate you.
All righty.
See you
have
next
a
time.
good night. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yep.
Wow. Guys, this was just an epic show. I want to thank you guys again for helping me get to, over 10,000 subscribers. Sports Tea has been active for less than a year, so we're growing, and I wouldn't be able to do that without, the help and the support of every one of you. So, do me a favor, smash the like button, okay? Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And share the video. Share it with your family, your friends. Put it on your social media. Let everybody know about Sports Tea so that we can grow the community and just like blow it up big. Where are we at with likes right now? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I need you guys to get on your job, okay? Don't make me do it. Actually, I will. I'll do it one time for the one time.
Be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is.
I need you guys to get on your job. Smash that like button. Get on your job.
Got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice.
You guys have left me no choice. I'm out here trying not to leave this message. I need you guys to like the video.
Got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. Be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is. Be mad, I can have a spat, we can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is.
That's all it is, guys. Get on your job. Like the video. Smash that like button for me, okay? Run up the likes, guys. Share the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Really appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Had so much fun with you guys. It was like a marathon episode. It was super, super duper fun. So thank you all. Don't forget, write me a comment if you want to share your thoughts and what you think about tonight's show. And all the topics we addressed. It was a lot, but certainly drop me a line in the comments. I want to know what you guys think. And most importantly, like, share, and subscribe. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Get some rest, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.